9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special edition of Dream Chasers. This is the third of its kind, but also the first of its kind in another way. This is a long format interview, Dream Chasers, with myself, Adam Carswell, featuring my lifelong compadre, John Colwill. Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've done, like I said, this is our third long format. You were on, I want to say, episode 49, episode 71 with Nadir Price, who should be joining us today as long as he wakes his Belizean self up. And the reason why I said today is also the first of its kind is because we are recording video. While we haven't done it in the past, I think mainly just to protect against technological difficulties, but you know, at this time we said forget about it. You guys can see our faces. So, yeah, what were you on up? Help me remember. Was it 49 and 71 that you were on?
I couldn't even tell you that, but what's up, Adam?
I'm going to take a look here through the list. I'm pretty sure those were the ones. And guys, if you haven't listened to those interviews, these are, like we said, these are long format. So it's going to take you a good 5 to 6 hours to get through the last two that we did. But I have to say, those are some of my favorite interviews. They're much different than the rest because, we do discuss business-related topics, but it's much more focused on just like life conversations, life discussions. And I think those can be just as valuable, if not more, for whoever's listening as we chase our dreams. And so, yes, episode 71. That was released on September 13th, or as we like to say, September 13th. And where was 49 was a ways back. Dang, Poppy. I didn't realize we did it that far back. 49. No, it was not 49. Where was it? Maybe it's in the 50s. How's the weather in Chardon, Ohio today?
The weather in Chardon, Ohio. I think it's going to be mid-30s today.
Okay, wow.
So a little warm up from what we had at the beginning of the week now. So we actually finally got our first big snowfall this past weekend. I think it was this past weekend. Kind of continued into the beginning of the week. But so, yeah, there's a good amount of snow on the ground right now. There's like 6 inches here, but compares nothing to what you're dealing with right now in Newfoundland, which actually made headlines nationally, which is crazy. And since we all of our buddies actually know someone, who lives there now, which is crazy. So that's pretty wild. You got to tell everybody about that and how things have been going.
Yeah, seriously, the Snowmageddon. And I just found it. The first one that we did, it was episode 59, not 49. So if anyone can see there, Johnny was on 59, 71, and now this is looking like episode, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself because we have some other ones in the pipeline, but somewhere in the 90s, this one's going live. Excuse me, let me clear my throat. Had to mute it. All right, so yes, Snowmageddon 2020 is everyone around here has been calling it. I don't even know where to start. About 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 now, there was a huge storm that came through here, and I want to say there was close to between 70 to 90 centimeters of snow on that first storm, and the city was able to rebound within 1 or 2 days. There wasn't much of a shutdown, or maybe the first day everything was kind of shut down. I can hardly remember though, except for it was a lot of snow, and everyone was freaking out. They're like, "Yeah, we haven't gotten a storm like that since 2001." And it's just all right, cool. And then 2 weeks later, what we just went through comes through, and when it's coming through, everyone's freaking out. They're like, "This is going to be a big one. It's going to be crazy, so much snow." And meanwhile, I'm kind of thinking to myself, all right, well, everyone was just freaking out 2 to 3 weeks ago about the huge dump of snow that we got. So this one's probably going to be just the same as that one. They'll figure it out. They'll clear the streets. It'll be fine. And I just couldn't have been further from reality, what actually happened. The storm came through, and it still felt like it was just as bad as the first one, but I think the winds were tougher. And then also you got to remember, pretty much all the snow from that first storm, most of it had been shoveled out of the way, but like it's still there. So when you have anywhere from 40 to 70 centimeters of snow still on the side of the streets or whatever, and then another like 90 to 100 or whatever come through and dump on top of that, which I'm still getting used to measuring in centimeters. For all my Canadian listeners, I'm sorry, I was raised in inches. Which is, it's always like one thing where once you start traveling outside the US, you're kind of like, dang it, why do we have to be so stubborn and do things different? Because actually I'm finally getting used to telling the temperature in Celsius. It took me a little while, but anyways, so however many inches that is. But my dad messaged me yesterday and he asked, like, how much snow was it? And I'm 6'5", so I have to say there was certainly parts around town here, and I'm sure other parts of Newfoundland where like the snow was stacked higher than I am. And there was people that actually got snowed into their homes, couldn't get out. Thank God. That was not the case for me. I was, I had enough food to get through, but I definitely did not go to the store in advance because I just wasn't thinking it was going to be that crazy. I have to give a big thank you to one of my friends, Jen Rose. She, it was like two or three nights ago. And I had like enough food, but like I was getting down to like tuna, bologna, and like rice. That's all I had. And her and her friend were coming over to hang out, and I'm like, hey, if you got like any other food, like this is what I'm down to, so that'd be awesome, like if you could bring some stuff. And she came through with like best care package ever, so definitely made me feel like, all right, cool, got some loving family here that's got my back. But yeah, I would say thankfully I was never scared or like afraid for my life. So I will say though, the first night the power went out, and that was interesting because at first I was talking to people on Snapchat and Instagram, and people were saying their power was going out. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there playing Super Mario Strikers, bumping my music, like having a good time by myself. I'm like, man, thank God so much that the power is still going for me. And this was around like 9 or 10 p.m. and then I'm still up doing my thing till it's probably like 1:30. And then the power goes out, and it flickered on and off a few times. I'm like, all right, cool. But then it actually just like completely went out, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And I just remembered something too. I have to, because this is long format, there's kind of like no rules on this interview. I just remember I have to send a text to my landlord, Steve Campbell. He's the man. But so back to the story, power goes out. And thankfully, I have a propane fireplace in my house. And you saw this because I sent it to all the boys on Snapchat. But I just took my blanket and pillows, put them next to the fireplace, turned it on, and fell asleep on the hardwood floor. Really was not comfortable at all, but created a new life memory and experience for myself. Woke up the next day, power was still out until probably like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. But thankfully, it came back on, and just kind of went out into the streets, started walking around, and surprisingly, like a lot of people were all out in the streets too. The streets were plowed, but not for cars to go through, just for people to walk on. So it was basically people streets. And, most people were pretty much outside because they were trying to shovel themselves out of their house. And again, thankfully, the way my house is positioned, it's literally God's touch. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but basically the way the house I live in is positioned was the wind blew all of the snow away from the front of the house and even the driveway. So like if somebody wanted to come park there, they could have. But it's the only house on the whole street that was like that. So
yeah, you don't even have a car.
I know, yeah. And this is a perfect reason why I really am cool not owning a car here. Summertime is no problem, but it's a real pain in the butt to maintain a car in the winter here just because of snowstorms coming through. I can imagine. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, we're still in the state of emergency here. I think it's going to be lifted today. Finally, it's January 22nd, and this is Wednesday. So whatever date, I can check actually. So whatever date last Thursday was it Thursday? The storm came in on Thursday night. So I guess actually Friday, the 17th. So the 17th through the 22nd, the city's been in state of emergency, which pretty much means like, if you're caught driving in the streets, then you'll receive $1,000 fine or something like that, which there's some pretty, in my opinion, like that rule goes against common sense. And I've noticed here in Canada, and honestly, really even just North America at large, there are some rules out there that that really go against common sense, which we're probably going to start going down that rabbit hole later. But like, I think when you start living in a society where there's rules against common sense, then it's not a red flag, but it's like a yellow flag. Like, I don't know. So, well, before I get distracted, I want to finish up the story on the Snowmageddon. Went to the grocery store yesterday. Never seen anything like it before. Literally hundreds of people crammed in there, like in line to buy food, to the point where I was actually like, man, like, you know what? I'm good. Got that care package last night from my buddy. Like, yeah, I'm not going to stand here in line for 2 hours to get, bread or whatever. But I sent, like, you saw it. I was sending you all the snaps, I think, right? Did you see, what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like an experience that I can't believe I got to experience. And thankfully I was blessed through the whole thing. And it just reminded me of, in a way, I feel like I'm kind of getting close to seeing all Mother Nature has to offer. Obviously there's probably some extremities that I haven't experienced yet, but I just had flashbacks to when I lived in Belize, going through insane amounts of heat. I'll never forget one time, like, getting into a van. Now the van was probably hot from sitting in the sun, but when sometimes the temperature will read on the inside of the vehicle, and I remember getting in the van and it said like 120 degrees or something like that. I'm like, wow, I've never been in something this hot before. I've never seen wind in my life like the wind that exists here, and that's part of the reason why the storm was so bad. I think, like, if you went outside, you would just feel the wind smacking you right in the face. It was rough. Like, I wanted the first portion of the storm came through, and I wanted to just kind of be brave and experience it for myself. I went outside thinking I was going to be able to walk around for like a half hour or so. I lasted like 5 minutes just because the snow was just blasting in my face, and I didn't have any like glasses or anything. So experienced seeing snow taller than me come to the ground. And then I also had the Belizean flashbacks to some of the rainstorms that would come through in Central America. It was just like a fireworks show, so loud and powerful. And you might have experienced some of those too when you came down to visit me. I can't remember, but yeah. So seen some cool things and alive to tell the story, and hopefully we have some more. And again, I'm not sure exactly when this interview is going live, but it's Wednesday, and I'm going to Los Angeles on Friday for the Intelligent Investors Real Estate Conference. So that'll definitely be a nice change of pace from what I've been experiencing the past week.
So I want to backtrack because it just popped in my mind while you were speaking about everything. Your fireplace was still working though, even though your power was out. You were able to still use it.
Yeah, because it is a propane fireplace, so it doesn't need electricity to function. Another thing that I completely forgot while the power was out, like, because I was just eating like the bananas and chips that I had left over while the power was out. Because I forgot, I was thinking I had an electric stove, but my stove is also propane, so I could have been cooking the whole time the power was out too. I just forgot. Wow. When the power came back on, I was like, oh, dang it, I actually could have been cooking last night.
Crazy. Well, now we just got to get you through a hurricane, and you can experience that, and then you'll be good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. There's actually a lot of forces of nature I've not experienced. I guess you could say earthquake, because we've had like one or two in our entire lives in the Cleveland area, but those are like baby quakes. Yeah,
those are baby ones. Yeah.
Volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis. I guess there's a lot that actually I have not experienced. And actually, now that I say all of those out loud, I think I'll be okay if I never had to experience any of those.
Yeah.
I think I'll be perfectly fine. But I guess if I do, whatever.
Yeah, something that I've thought about lately, Mother Nature sometimes is scary. Like, yeah. To me at least, when things like that are so powerful. Like, I think wind scares me more than anything when the wind is like very strong. Like a month ago, actually it was probably less than that. It was really windy here, and I was coming home late at night, and where I live, it's kind of in the woods and stuff. So I park my car, where we park our car, there's trees all around. And I get out of my car and I just hear all this cracking of trees and stuff, and they're blowing around. And I'm like, holy crap, like I need to like move now. I feel like one of these trees is gonna fall on me like any moment. It's scary. I don't know. And
Yeah.
just like, I don't know about you, even being right by the ocean, sometimes when it's really, really windy, like a really, really windy day, and it's so powerful, it like moves you. It's a little scary to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just something that I realized recently for me is like, wow, nature's really powerful. And I don't know if I should necessarily be scared of it, but that's kind of how I feel sometimes.
Yeah. Well, if wind is something that inspires you to realize how powerful nature is, then whenever you do finally come to visit me, you'll get to feel it. Because I
Yeah.
think St. John's is actually ranked like the third windiest city in the world or something like that. Apparently,
Holy crap.
Chicago's not even, Chicago's the windy city, but Chicago, according to the list that I'm referring to, isn't even in the top 10. So, uh, yeah, the wind. There's a few spots in town where it's like it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. If you're walking like a certain direction on the street, you'll always feel the wind in your face. Or if you're going the other way, you'll always feel the wind blowing against your bag. This is one place I found like I hardly ever take or do phone calls when I'm outside because there's like 80% of the time there's going to be wind noise. It's kind of funny, but it's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine that countries that are on the coast of the ocean, or not, just places on the coast
Hmm.
of the ocean, will be a lot noisier than somewhere like Chicago, or we call the Windy City. But
Yeah.
you know,
I guess Chicago is maybe the windy city because it's like right there on Lake Michigan. So it's
right?
got the wind coming off the lake, in Cleveland where you're at. Gets actually,
Mhm.
I don't know. Does Northeast Ohio get more snow than any other part of Ohio? I feel like we do
Oh yeah, for sure,
because of the lake
definitely.
effect snow. Yeah. And that's the one thing where I do tell people here, like, obviously, we've never seen anything like this in Cleveland, but I have been pretty well conditioned for snowstorms from living in the Cleveland area.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna mention too. I don't know if you remember when we were real little kids. I think it was 1996. We had like 4 feet of snow here. Do you remember that?
I think I do, and I want to say it was around like Thanksgiving time or something because I do remember at a young age having a snow, I think taller, like higher, taller than me,
Yeah,
and going
right.
outside and like making an igloo with like my mom or Leah and Paul or something like that. I do remember that vaguely. I'm sure our parents definitely remember it.
Right. Yeah, I remember my mom picking me up and from our porch and literally throwing me on top of the snow pile. And it probably took me a good half hour to get through my yard to the street where I saw my neighbors playing, and they didn't even hear me, but I was trying to call them. And by the time I got all the way there, they went back inside, so I had to turn back around.
Was that at your place where you live now?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
right here.
Yeah, I'm just checking my phone here to see where our Belizean buddy is. No sign of Mandy yet. I've actually one of the nights because I've pretty much just for the most part been in my house for close to the past 96 hours because it's like what else is there to really do right now? Everything's closed. Um, but no, I talked to Nadir for like 4 hours the other day, and we had a really good conversation. And we talked about this too, and all the cool things we're going to talk about on the podcast. So I hope he wakes up. The main thing is, I mean, I don't know, what time is it for you right now? Where you're at?
9:30 in the morning.
Okay, so I want to say Belizean time. I think he's 2 hours behind you. So
Oh wow.
normally he's not up this early. So I don't know. I'm sure again we're gonna be at this for. Wait, so we started close to a half hour ago. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got another
Yeah.
2 hours in the tank. Now, guys, I mean, Johnny and I also, I know throughout our lives, you could say we've pretty much known each other since we were like 4 or 5. Like, I don't know, I'm a year older than you, but like both
Hmm.
born, or not, I'm not a year older than you. We're both born in 91. So whenever we went to KCF, so yeah, like age 4 or 5. So that means we've known each other for 24 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
About to be 25. And
Yeah.
throughout
Quarter century.
throughout our career, we've probably had about, I don't know, 100 2-hour long phone calls, if not more.
Yeah.
Especially back in the late high school days. But yeah, so I don't know. Did you I mean, you're getting ready to move to Florida, right? Are you still looking at doing that?
Mhm. Yeah, it's becoming more real now. As far as the time frame, it is definitely going to be the end of February or very beginning of March, somewhere in that time frame. Me and my girlfriend have pretty much decided on a place we want to live now. So things are looking good. It's exciting. You know, new year, new decade. It's just like a new fresh start. Everything's aligning um, perfectly in my life right now to make that transition, to start fresh, if you would say, and um, attack new things, new goals, and
Mm-hmm.
all that. So, very exciting time for us.
What city were you guys looking at again?
We're gonna go to Fort Myers.
Okay. Was Fort Myers where you and I went for
Yeah, it is.
oh wow,
Yeah.
okay. So that's it's West Coast Florida, right? That's
Yes,
Gulf Coast.
correct. Gulf Coast. Yep. South, right above Naples, below Tampa Bay. Right in that area. But it's very up and coming there. That is one of the fastest growing populations in the entire country. Um, it's still a very small city, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Fort Myers, the metropolitan area, is a lot bigger. Some of the other cities next to it are actually bigger than it, and people don't realize because they're like just residential. Like Cape Coral is over 100,000 people, but Fort Myers is still under 100,000 people. But
Really? Oh wow.
in the last 10 years, it's grown by 20,000 people. So it's really booming. So it's old people there, but a lot of young professionals too. So that's kind of like the aspect we were looking for if we are going to go anywhere. It's
Right.
that, obviously.
And that is the Tampa Bay area, correct?
Yeah, well, it's an hour south of there. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because yeah, I know, and I do know the Tampa area when it comes to commercial real estate, multifamily in particular, and actually, you know what? Self storage and maybe mobile home parks, maybe all three of those asset classes. Sorry, I'm going to get technical here for a second, but I just know that there's a lot of growth happening there, and so something to keep in mind if you want to position yourself in the commercial real estate industry. If you move down there, I don't know about you doing any type of full-time work, but being boots on the ground there could actually be really valuable, to the point where maybe even just me working through you might actually become something. So that would be
Interesting.
it'd be valuable if you move down there, for sure. That's what I'm thinking. I'll send you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I had someone on the show too from that area, or no, I just had a phone call with someone who's in that area. Luke Watson. Um, yeah, once you get down there, I'll connect you with Luke. I can't
Cool.
even remember exactly what he does, but I know he's in commercial. Yeah. So what do you you're doing the Amazon thing still right now, and then are you substitute teaching? Did I hear?
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if
Just
that's why I saw you change your Instagram name. Is that so your students can't find you?
no, that's just for a personal brand,
Oh,
that I really want to start doing. So
nice.
um, lots of big things to come with that. Slow and steady, but eventually, hopefully, it becomes a big thing. Yeah. So as you know, and everybody, we talked about it before. My nickname is Poppy Seed, so
Uh-huh.
I changed all my usernames to Poppy Seed. It's Poppy Seed. It's _Poppy Seed.
Go
So
follow
that's
him,
my
folks.
brand.
It's Poppy Seed. And I'll tell the story briefly. Johnny got his nickname back in, man, 2011. 2000, yeah, I think it was 2011.
2011, 2012, somewhere around there.
we went on a trip with all of our friends to Cedar Point, which at that point in time, I mean, the trips to Cedar Point are always a good time, but that was like one of our first times, like, yo, like we're gonna drive somewhere like without our parents, we're gonna rent a hotel, like, it was a big deal. And we're only driving like an hour and a half from where we live, but we did it. And we were eating at Olive Garden at some point during the day during our Cedar Point
It
adventure.
was Bob Evans.
Oh yes, Bob Evans, good catch. And I don't know, Poppy ordered he ordered a salad, and they asked what kind of dressing he wanted, and he said he wanted poppy seed dressing, and somehow we just started calling him Johnny Poppy Seed.
Johnny
Yeah.
Appleseed, Johnny Poppy Seed, yeah.
Johnny Poppy Seed's better. It's more original. So yeah, guys, go follow It's Poppy Seed, the next brand coming to you from 2020. And another thing Johnny's really good at, and makes sense why he's starting the personal brand, is if you look at the hat that he's wearing, it's a Liberland hat, which I kind of want to say to you, like, if you could explain to our listeners what Liberland is and the role that you've played with the country. And then, I obviously, because of how I've gotten involved with Liberland, I do know more about the country than you do, but I kind of want to hear it from your perspective, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
Yeah. You can rate me on how explaining it.
Sounds good. I think we're having a little bit of a connection issue there. No, I mean, that's probably my fault. And yes, everyone listening, apologize if there is any connectivity issues along the way. We're doing our best. So anyway, sorry, you were starting to talk about Liberland.
Yeah. So Libertarian is a country forming in Europe that will be the freest country in the world.
It already is.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. It already is. And so it's between Croatia and Serbia, a little chunk of land that the president figured out was not claimed by either of the countries after a war that took place in the 1990s. So he went there, stuck a flag in the ground, declared it Liberland. And so right now there's a lot of things in the works just trying to get there and trying to build on the land. But Croatia not having it still. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they've blockaded anybody from entering the country. So Vit, the president, has been working very hard, meeting with different diplomats from countries all over the world to get Liberland recognized as a country by the rest of the world. So it's a long process, and the country is going to be founded on blockchain technology, and its national currency will be a cryptocurrency. And how'd I do?
Pretty good. Yeah, I would say one thing that we like to say, to just put a more of a positive spin on it, because it is true. The Croat, and I don't know, it's for whatever reason, the Serbian country of Serbia has supported the growth and prosperity of Liberland much more than Croatia. And I don't even know exactly why, but that's just how it's played out. So the Serbian side of the Danube River, right by Liberland, Belgrade, Sombor, Apatin, all of those cities are basically, where Liberland is currently headquartered as far as actions that are being taken to further the country. And flip over to the Croatian side, even though Croatia has openly and publicly and legally even come out and said, this is not our land, this is not our territory, they have still chosen to put a police blockade in the Danube River around the country, and basically island. If you look at it on a map, it's basically an island of Liberland. So the fun thing that we like to say, to put again the positive spin on it, is Croatia is protecting our land for us for when we're ready to start building. Because honestly, where we're at now, April 13th is the 5th anniversary of Liberland. And I should say, I'm also the host of the Liberland Show, a podcast, and that's part of the reason why I am on the internal development of the country. But really, we're not it's kind of good that Croatia is doing what they're doing, because we still need time to prepare for when it's time to start building a physical infrastructure on our land. Um, Starting a country from scratch is kind of like starting a business from scratch, only way more complex. And so it just simply, it takes time. And a good thing that you mentioned about recognition is Liberland is continuously gaining more and more recognition every day. President Jedlička is in a new country or a new city almost every day speaking. He was just in Hong Kong last week. He's in Davos, Switzerland this week. We have a conference coming up in Acapulco, Mexico in February that I'll be at with a few of the leaders of our country. Liberland is always on the go for the past 5 years, and there's plenty, especially if you go online, of a digital trail of the achievements and successes that the country's had moving forward towards, according to the UN, becoming a real country. I don't hate legal stuff, but sometimes I just think it's it's so inconvenient and just unnecessary for people to have a permission slip or a piece of paper to go where they want to go in this world. But that's just how it is. And so when it comes to the powers that be controlling what is and isn't a country, that's again for later in this interview when we start going down the old rabbit hole. I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded. But so anyways, Liberland, we're doing some big things. We have I can't remember if I already said this, but over 90 representatives in different countries around the world. New embassies opening every day. Different forms of recognition from government associated entities, and we're getting closer and closer to our first official country. There's multiple countries that have come out and expressed recognition and support and awareness that Liberland is a country, but there's a certain official legal process that needs to take place. And I just know there's some islands in the Caribbean, some connections that we have in Central America, and a few other places around the world that are getting very close to officially recognizing Liberland as a country. There is another micronation, or it might not even be considered a micronation anymore, called Somaliland, close to Somalia in Africa, but much safer right now than I would say than Somalia. Somaliland is basically our partner, and there's plenty of information on that if you go ahead and Google it. I think if anyone wants a vision for what Liberland could potentially look like one day, really how we view it is an economic powerhouse similar to Hong Kong, Qatar, Monaco, Monte Carlo. If you look at any of these small countries, there's even another one in Central Europe. It starts with an L. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically,
Liberland.
Liberland. There's going to be two of them now.
It is Central
Europe. Liechtenstein, is that it? I don't know. I might be messing it up.
Singapore
is another example. So, all of those, everything we just named are basically cities that are states, and they are all economic powerhouses. And with the way the future is going, especially with in my opinion, the phrase that's getting a little bit overused now, but blockchain technology, Liberland is paving the way. So, really, I think our main focus as a country is to just, finally get the green light from the establishments that we need to get the green light from, because, they really don't have much to lose. Liberland can go out there and set a shining example, or it could go out there and completely tank, but you never know until you have an example to begin with. And we want to be that shining light, that example that shows the world, this is how things can be done. And one thing that we did not mention about Liberland, which is the beautiful thing, and this is actually kind of similar to Qatar, because there's no taxation in Qatar. And same goes for Liberland. Taxation is voluntary. So if you do want to pay your taxes, you can. And you're kind of like, well, why would you ever, why would you if you didn't have to? And the main, I don't look for the right word, but the main thing behind paying taxes in Liberland is if you want to vote and you want your voice to be heard in who is running the country, that's when your participation in taxation is considered, valuable or counted. So if you don't care who's running the country and you just want to keep running your business and you don't want to pay taxes, you don't have to, which that's pretty much impossible to find almost anywhere in the world right now, except for a few places. And so that's another reason why it's a great playground for economic and entrepreneurial development.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually didn't know that about Qatar, that they didn't have taxation there. That's really cool. That's really interesting. I'll have to look into that country more and learn more about it. Yeah, so one question I have, maybe you can answer it, because I actually don't know the answer to this. Liberland's land, is that all on the Croatian side? That little, I know what the outline looks like, but is there more to it than what I'm imagining? Is there more on that other side, the Serbian side, like that coast? Is any of that land considered Liberland's?
Yeah, if you look at the Danube River and where Liberland is positioned, it does, to the naked eye, it does appear as though it is, as you said, on the Croatian side, which could really lead to why Croatia has decided to respond to us the way that they have. But, it's at the end of the day, like I said, it's a little bit puzzling because they've also come out and said this is not our land, but they're protecting it for us. So whatever. But yeah, if you look at it on a map, it is kind of, I guess you could say, like on the Croatian side.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess we got to give a plug to the website that you created for Liberland. So as we mentioned, guys, I host the Liberland show, the podcast. Go ahead and just do a web search on it. Liberland show, Adam Carswell. I'm sure something will pop up for you to take a listen to the show. And then Johnny, who's really good at creating merchandise websites, created shopliberland.com. So go ahead and check out shopliberland.com and also take a look at the hat that he's wearing right now. He designed that. I know it's kind of like a simple hat, right? But it's cool. Like there's no other place in the world to get Liberland gear as far as I'm concerned, besides the way that Johnny set it up. So spread the word.
I guess I forgot to mention that when I was giving my spiel at the beginning. I didn't get into what I actually do for the country, and that's really what the only thing I've really partaken in was to create a site where people can get merch to help promote the country, basically. And a portion of the proceeds, as more and more people start to buy, I will definitely donate it to the Liberland Aid Foundation to help the country grow even more.
Yeah. And I try to remember the Liberland Aid Foundation website because I've had them on the show before too, but that's another great cause. If you are listening and you are someone who likes to give and you want to give to a charity or support a foundation that, again, this is definitely subjective or my opinion, but, if you want to give to a cause that's actually making a real impact and changing the world, that's a great place to start. Definitely my choice charity. I got a few other ones. I like Hoop Dreams Belize a lot too, because, that charity changed my life. Shout out to Coach Brad's and Nadir. Hopefully we catch you here, boy. But, I like your flag behind you, Johnny, repping the hometown strong for the interview.
Yeah, the Indians flag.
Where'd you get
still
that?
Still got the chief on there. It's I actually got it from like AliExpress, I think, a couple years ago.
I forgot, is Chief Wahoo officially banned?
Yeah, there's no more Chief Wahoo as of last year, 2019 season.
Okay. I saw that the Indians are switching. So here we go. I've got my Indians gear right here too.
Nice.
Classic Cleveland C. So next year they're switching back to the cursive I instead of the C, right? Did I see that?
Yeah, taking it back to 2002, 2003, 2004, whenever they were using that. I like that better than the block C, for sure. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the block C.
Well, the block C is it's a little bit more universal. So I guess, because like unless you're from Cleveland, I feel like you might not know when you see the block C, you might be like, oh wait, is that Chicago? Is that,
right?
You don't know which C it is. So with the cursive I think it's definitely much more distinctive. I mean, they've been having the cursive I across the chest, but just not on the hat.
Correct. Yep. That script, the Indian script, that cursive writing is pretty iconic too. That's definitely like a brand logo for them that they still have. So it's still very recognizable. and now that Chief Wahoo isn't there anymore, which I'm bummed about. But we don't need to get all into that unless you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I actually would love to, because yeah, time to spice things up. So yeah, political correctness is an interesting topic, and this is why I'm going to keep referring to him, hopefully until he hops on the call. But this is why I really wanted to have Nadir on the line, because one thing that we spoke about the other day, and he would be able to provide much more evidence and direction and facts and ways for people to go check this for themselves, basically. But during our conversation, I said something to him like, and actually the moral of the story is why I'll say this first, because it's just like basically what we just talked about. But at the end of the story, Nadir is like, this is why when it comes to racism, I just kind of chuckle and laugh to myself and just like don't take it serious at all. It's because at some point during our conversation to him, I said something like, in this day and age, the common perception is that if you're black or you're someone with dark skin right now, then you're being oppressed. That's like, it's almost like that's a fact. Like if you go around, that's what people think, is if you have dark skin, then you are currently being oppressed. And I said to Nadir, I was like, you know what, because life simply comes and goes in moves, in waves. I was like, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if 500 to 1,000 years from now. I never saw the movie Black Panther, but apparently I heard in the movie Black Panther, it's kind of like black people run the world or whatever. Am I right? Did you ever see it?
Well, they have like almost like a secret society in a country that they're able to world.
Sorry, the internet connection timed out for a second there. It's coming back now.
Oh, can you hear me
now? It's like
now?
a secret. You said like a secret society, though.
Yeah, it's like a secret society that they have the technology to shield themselves from satellites that the rest of the world can't see inside their 50-mile radius of like country. That's like so technologically advanced beyond the rest of the world, like as far as what they have there. It was a cool movie. It was a cool concept.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. And it's another topic. Is you just know me. It's nearly impossible for me to ever watch a movie because I don't know how I am. But so okay, cool. And so basically, what I was saying to Nadir was, I wouldn't be surprised if 500 to 1,000 years from now, everyone forgets about this life that we're living in here, and all of a sudden, the world is being run by black people, and then white people are the ones being oppressed. And Nadir's like, you know what, Adam? You know how he talks? He's like, that's so amazing that you said that, because that's exactly how things were 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, or something like that. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, and he started using all these cross references and things to validate basically what I was saying or what he was saying. But yeah, I mean, he basically, according to the history that we're not commonly taught or spoken to about, African culture or black people basically influenced and ran the entire world. And you can see this, he said, through the Mayan civilizations, and there's all kinds of like, I guess, conspiracy stuff too about like the pyramids and how all these different things are connected. But what he was saying was, really like black people ran the world. And what happened was, because Africa was the land of natural resources, milk and honey, and still is to this day, the white people who were being oppressed were basically forced out of Africa to the north, where resources were not necessarily as plentiful. And as they were pushed up to the north, they all still continued to fight amongst themselves. And then over time, kind of unified and came together. And then really what started happening at first was because, just say the continent of Africa was so rich in resources, they started selling their own people to the white people. And eventually that got to a point where it had gone too far. They basically sold off too much of their own human resources to the whites, to the point where all of a sudden white people had, from coming together after being oppressed, enough unification and power and strategy to now flip the script and come over and start dominating Africa. And whenever all this started taking place was kind of when that switch in who's running the world kind of happened. And the way the projections look right now look like it's getting ready to be the Chinese people's turn to run the world for however many of the next amount of years, because again, Africa is the land of resources, and the Chinese are slowly but surely working their way into Africa. And Doug Casey, who's a very well-known author, editor-in-chief, everyone go check out internationalman.com if you want to learn about who Doug Casey is. I've gotten to meet him a few times, and he wrote an article basically saying how within the next 50 to 100 years, Africa will be very Chinese influenced. Even in the article, like the picture of the article was the continent of Africa with the Chinese flag like across it. It was pretty captivating. And how, as that process is taking place, Europe over the next 50 to 100 years is going to become very much more black, and Africans are going to kind of migrate up to Europe. I don't really remember or know where, for example, majority of white people are going to be according to Doug Casey's predictions, but it's just so interesting, so captivating. And it just, in my opinion, it just makes so much sense that I would not be surprised if this is what happens. And thankfully, we probably will be living long enough to see this play out, at least somewhat. The cool thing about it all is like, what happens is, again, everything in life just comes in waves. So you can sit there and freak out and be like, oh, the Chinese are going to take over and dominate the world. You can sit there and freak out and say, oh, the white people are going to take over the world. You can freak out and say black people. You could create any storyline to freak yourself out. The main thing is life is just always changing. And if you can kind of take a step back and breathe and realize that you're not tied to what's physically going on and that you have this powerful, everlasting spirit, then you can kind of just be like, wow, this is amazing. And blood, sweat, and tears, good things, bad things happening, unfortunately, or for better, for worse, that's just how life is. And that's why I'm team Nadir on racism, because it's just like, just relax. Everybody, please relax. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself and other people crazy.
Couldn't agree more. One thing I also mentioned that kind of backs up the point that Deer was making and you were explaining.
Yeah, and actually, hold on 1 second, Johnny. It seems like your microphone got quieter for some reason. Maybe it's just because you're leaning back.
Is it better now or no?
It is a little bit better now. I guess continue. If it's like bad, then I'll.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
To back up your point, I think if you even look back to the Israelite days where, they were oppressed by Egypt, which is like darker skinned people. And, Israelis, like, I guess would be considered like white people, right? The Jews. So there's another point of it, like where white people were the slaves of black people or whatever you want to.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely not referenced too often. And I think I noticed when you leaned forward, I could hear your voice better. So I don't know if that was it or what.
I'll try to stay a little closer.
All right. And maybe it could just be the connection trying to figure out what's the best bandwidth for hearing you speak. Either way, we'll enhance the quality of the call. And the audio version. Video version, actually, I don't think we'll be able to. We could, though. I'm just thinking out loud. That would take way too long. Either way, thank you for tuning in, folks. We'll continue. So it's just cool to look at how the world operates and functions. And I think that, as you were saying earlier, or as I was saying, once certain parts around the world start creating rules and laws that really kind of go against what most would consider common sense, it's not a reason to like hurry up and get out or run away, but it is a reason to start questioning and start thinking, how can you best position yourself for your own life and your own family and your own freedom moving forward? For me, I am very inspired by what looks to be this surge in just growth that is projected for the continent of Africa, to the point where there's a few African countries that I've got my eyes on where not only do I want to visit, but if I like them, this is probably the first time I've ever definitely said this publicly, let alone ever even said it, but I would not mind having a residence somewhere in Africa where I could spend, 3 to 6 months a year just to be positioned for if something goes south in the U.S. or Canada or anywhere else that I consider a residency or a home.
Cool. Yeah, I know. From what I hear, Nigeria is going to be one of the biggest countries in the world. It's actually going to overtake the U.S. population. It's going to surpass that in like 50 years or something.
Yeah, you actually, that was one thing that ran through my head and I forgot about. In that same article, man, I wish I could remember the name of it. I think if you're listening right now, just go on Google, do a web search, and just type in Doug Casey, Africa, China, article, interview, Europe. Like just type in those keywords, and it should pop up. But in that article that he wrote, it also predicts that Lagos, the capital of Nigeria, will actually be, within the next 50 to 100 years, will be the most populated city in the entire world, which is just crazy to think. Because I think, what's number one right now, actually? What's the biggest city in the world?
Probably Tokyo.
Tokyo might be. I know Mexico City is like top 3, which I'm actually going to be in Mexico City for like a hot minute when I do that.
I'm going to have to look this up.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, look it up. Yeah, go ahead and look up most populated cities in the world. Oh, you know what? One of them might be India, India. I think India's got like 3 of them.
I think this is going by metropolitan areas.
What's
what
the
I'm
top
looking
10?
at right now. Tokyo is number 1.
Okay.
Here, let me actually click the link. It was showing on Google. Tokyo is number 1 metropolitan area, 37 million people. New Delhi, India is number 2, just south of 30 million. Then Shanghai, China. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Wow. Number 4. Mexico City's number 5. Cairo, that's Egypt, right?
Yeah, wow.
20 million people. Dhaka. What's Dhaka?
Dhaka is that it's in the Indian area, but I don't think it's India. It might be what country? I gotta look it up now. It might be Dhaka, India.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Dang it, I knew that.
Wow. I didn't. I'm learning new things already. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, and then number 8 is Mumbai.
Yeah, look at all these Indian cities.
Yeah, Beijing's number 9, and then Osaka. What's Osaka?
That's Japan. Wow, Japan's top 2 in the top 10. Yeah, New York City is not even to like. Where's New York City at?
I just see the top 10 on this. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's the whole list. New York City's nowhere near any of these.
Yeah.
New York City. I'm scrolling. Oh, it's number 38.
Wow. So that's.
Oh, you know what? This does. I think this is actually the actual city population.
Wow.
That's crazy. Tokyo has that many people. Wow. Yeah, because New York City, it says, has 8 million, 8.6. So that's about right for actual New York City, not the metro area.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy because, especially I'd say for us growing up in Canada, I would say Toronto is the equivalent. People in our countries view New York and Toronto as like the Mecca, like so many people, so big, which it is. Like they are big cities. They're very influential, make an impact on the entire world. But it's just funny to think how they actually are. They're freaking tiny compared to some other places.
That's incredible to me. That's stuff I didn't know, to be honest.
I do have to say though, I was in Mexico City a year ago, and like I said, basically I have like a 12-hour layover there in February, so I'll be there again, but not really like I was last time. And it was pretty easy to maneuver like through and around the city. So it didn't feel like, oh man, this is massive. I think maybe because it's really spread out. I don't know. Going there, you wouldn't feel like it's much bigger than New York City, but it is a lot.
Where are you talking about?
Mexico City.
Oh, nice. Cool. I didn't know you've been there.
Yeah, I went to EDC there last year.
Okay.
Mexico City, actually, dude, Poppy, you got to go there because it's really not that expensive to get there. There's a really nice area that I stayed in called Polanco, which is, my friends refer to it as like the Beverly Hills of Mexico City. Very nice, very clean, very safe, super affordable compared to what we would consider expensive. Highly recommend. And actually, I'm going to, I think, yeah, you know this, but haven't really shared it on the podcast as far as I can remember. But I'm going to Serbia the beginning of April for 2 weeks for the Liberland anniversary. During that time, I'm going to also visit the Netherlands for about 4 days. I get there on April 1st, and then I think April 3rd through the 7th, I'll be in the Netherlands visiting my friend, not Ashna, but her friend, because, huh?
Who's that?
Her name is Dory, and I know Dory through Ashna, and I mean, I definitely look forward to seeing both of them when I'm there, and a few other friends that I have. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that trip. If I know you haven't been to Europe yet, but that's just another place where, man, everyone's so cool, and you can pretty much just go around the whole country and speak English. You're fine. Like everyone there speaks pretty good English, and
right.
Yeah, I remember last time I was there. Let me see if I can find it because I was looking at it the other day. I think actually I have it. I have it saved in my videos here. But I remember, so we went out for the night one night, Saturday night or whatever, and we didn't even like consider walking out of my Airbnb that we were at until like midnight or something like that. Like, in the US, when you go out for the night, it's like, especially in Cleveland, like you pretty much want to start getting ready to head out for the night. Like I'd say close to 10 because everything pretty much shuts down by 2. And St. John's is almost, I don't want to say as bad, but everything shuts down here around 3. And I don't know. I like to have a good time. So when stuff's closing that early, it's like, what the heck? In Netherlands, we left to go out at like midnight, and I got this video. If I can find it. Oh man, where is it? There it is. I mean, the party was like, it was just getting going, and it says 3:40 because it's like the Snapchat filter on it. 3:48 a.m. There you
go. That's midnight in the U.S.
Right? I don't know if I'm trying to see if you can even see it. I gotta watch it one more time. We can back now. That's my. Oh wait, no. Here's another one. This is 4:58 a.m.
Wow.
They're still going. Like I think we probably ended up leaving there at like at like 6, and I don't know. That's fun for me. That's fun. I don't know about you. So yeah, looking forward to that trip. And the reason why I was referencing Serbia too is because Serbia is very affordable, comparable to Mexico City. Like, I don't have all of my accommodations set there yet, but I do know I'll be there for the first 2 or 3 days of the trip. And I got like an apartment with like a view of the city for like $40 a night or something like that, and it's like it's nice. It's nice. So I'm sure you'll see it.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, what's up? What's going through your head? I mean, I could think of a billion things to talk about right now, but I kind of want to give you the driver's seat.
I'm kind of still scrolling through this list of cities. I'm just like, that's very interesting stuff to me.
Where do you what's like your dream destination for 2020? Where's a place that you want to go that you've never been to before besides Fort Myers?
Wow. Fort Myers, yeah, I've been there before though.
True. We can actually talk about that real quick too. That's pretty epic.
That's actually hilarious. Yeah, we were near there, at least, near.
I know.
Yeah. Wow, that was a great. crazy day.
You want to just talk about that?
Yeah, we can bring that up first. Save the other thing for after. Yeah, so me and Adam, I was living in DC with you that summer. I was interning. You guys were working there for Sherwin-Williams, and our landlord wanted help moving stuff from a condo that she lived in Fort Myers, move everything up to DC so she could use it for an apartment there. So she flew me and Adam down to Fort Myers. We rented a U-Haul truck, loaded up everything, all within what was it, like 14 hours we were there total?
Dude, it was crazy. Because I just remembered before we flew down, the day before we flew down, I went on a date, and I have two phones. And everyone always asks why. I'll just say, why do you have two phones? I have two phones because I was getting ready to be a sales rep for Sherwin-Williams, and I wanted to prove to him I'm ready. I can handle two phones. This one's for work. This one's for personal. And I ended up leaving the company before that happened because thank God I just did. But it was so nice having two phones. I'm like, I am not changing. I'm keeping two phones. So anyways, had two phones, left one on the subway that I was on by accident, and didn't realize that I didn't have it until the next day, which was also the day that we were scheduled to fly to Fort Myers. And thankfully, because I had two phones, I had to find my iPhone on the other one. So I start tracking down to see where my phone's at. And I'm in McLean, Virginia, and my phone's in Hyattsville, Maryland, which if I was a bird, I could probably fly there in like 5 minutes. But if you're living in the DC area, it takes like a half hour to get from point A to point B. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, I got to get my phone. Someone's clearly stolen it. And I get on the phone with someone that I know that has her husband's in the police force for Prince George County. I'm like, what do I do? Because that's where the phone was at. She's like, all right, well, you can have a police officer come there with you. And, they can't do it. They can't enforce anything, but they can be there with you. And, maybe that'll help. So basically that's what happened is I left my store early. I called in one of my employees to keep running it for me. Clock's ticking. I remember I called you, I'm like, grab my shirt, grab my shorts, grab all this stuff. Take it to the airport. I'll meet you at the airport. And I'm like freaking James Bond, Mission Impossible, driving, getting my I just heard a noise in the background. So getting my stuff, drive over to the place. There's so my phone's either in one of these two houses. We knock on the doors, we go back and forth. No one's budging. And then eventually somebody comes out of one of the houses and the guy's like, sir, I think my friend has your phone. It's kind of like, what do you mean you think? Yeah, clearly, look, yeah, he's got it. What do you mean you think? And they're like, they give it to us because the police were there. It scared them. They're like, yeah, nobody called it or nobody tried contacting her. I'm like, don't give me that. I'm looking at it, 30 notifications, whatever, on the phone. Give me that. But as soon as I get in the phone, hop in the car, drive back over to Crystal City where you're at. And yep. I think we made it made it on a plane just in time. So anyways, yeah. And then then we go back to what you were just saying, which is that we're there. Yeah. It happened really quick when we got there. I feel like we got off the plane. Crazier part. What happened?
Dude, I'm just thinking about even the grand picture right now. We can tell this whole
this is a
week, but we can tell this whole week in perspective too. We can go beyond that trip. But
wait, something else happened that week?
Well, yeah, with the championship, so we had to drive.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right, keep it rolling.
So yeah, we fly down there. I don't know what. I think it was probably mid-afternoon or later afternoon, 4 p.m. or something by the time we get there. And
I remember going to Walmart.
Which is crazy. I can't believe you did all of that in the morning. Wow. Before we went to the airport, before we flew down to Florida. So yeah, then we get picked up. We go to Walmart. Adrian, that was her name, Adrian?
Adrian, yeah.
Yeah, she buys us a whole bunch of food and stuff, stocks us up for the trip and stuff. We go back to her condo. We start loading everything up. We finish it late at night.
Yeah, that's right. We just started loading when we got there.
We had to, basically. Yeah.
Dang.
We started right away. We started loading everything. We loaded everything except the beds so we could sleep. And then in the morning, we took out the beds, put it in the truck, put it in the U-Haul truck, slammed that door shut 4:30 in the morning, started driving all the way back up to DC. And this was the day of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Our team, the Cavs, were playing. So we're trying to get back for game time. I think we missed like the whole first half of the game at least.
We
right?
missed. I'll fill in the blanks when you're done.
Yeah. So we get picked up by the girl Adam was talking to that he went on the date with, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Yeah. The same girl.
She's engaged now. Actually, she might be married. I don't know. Anyway.
Good for her.
Yeah. Shout out. Shout out.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So we are trying to get up there for the game. I remember we had so many issues getting back for the game too. We got in the only traffic jam, and like the whole it was Father's Day too, so it was Sunday, so it's like the weekend. So usually there isn't traffic problems really, mostly anywhere. DC always has traffic problems, but going up north from like Richmond, Virginia, up to DC, we got in the only traffic jam like in the whole country of the United States. And we're trying to get back for this game so we could watch it, and then we have to like get gas the last second because we realize we're not going to make it. We pull into the gas station, it's closed. We go to the next gas station, closed. So we finally get back for the game. That girl picks us up from where we drop off the U-Haul at your store or something. Random.
Yeah. Because we were trying to figure out. We didn't know where to park the U-Haul overnight, and we wanted to park it somewhere where we could guarantee that it would be safe to park it there. And then just come get it the next day. And the only place that I could think of was like you just said, my paint store, the parking lot there, it wouldn't get touched. So we drove to McLean and left the U-Haul there. She met us in the parking lot. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. She meets us at the parking lot, drives us to Crystal City where we live. We meet up with our boys, your brother, Brandon, Hauser, watch the rest of the game. It was probably actually only like the fourth quarter or something. So we saw like the real critical moments, and we saw the win happen. It was crazy. It was cool being together with everybody too for that, to experience that first Cleveland championship our whole lives. So that was cool. But yeah, then after that, the next day, I think we all go to work the next day.
Wait, hold on. You skipped. I think you skipped one part about yourself too, and I want to say, because man, I'm just looking back on it, how I think I had to work the next day too. Like I had to run my store the next day or something crazy like that. And
I worked the next day too.
I would never. It's good that I lived a life where I was slaving away that hard at one point. But it's just like, man, nowadays I would just totally structure my schedule different so that way I would not put that kind of pressure on myself. But what I was going to say is I'm pretty sure I had to work the next day because after they won, we had a good time, celebrate, whatever, and I went to bed.
Yep.
But you and Brandon hopped on this I said subway, but what do we call it? The metro. You guys hopped on the metro and went down to the look at the monuments at night after the Cavs won or whatever.
Yeah. Which was, honestly, looking back at that, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Wait, why?
It wasn't as cool as the first time we did it. Like, we did it, like, the week prior. And it was, like, right when I first moved down there, too. So, it was just honestly kind of like a pain. Me and Brandon got off at, like, the wrong spot and had to walk really far. So, it was like, dang.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have done that because I'm like, dang, now we're going to be out here for forever. And, like, I got to work the next day. But it was still cool and stuff, and we kind of got to chill and think about, wow, what just happened and stuff. And we were talking to police officers that were in the area, and that were like, we're walking around like, we just won the championship. They're like, oh, you're Cavs fans, and it was cool. But, yeah, the next day I go to work. Too, I was working at Sherwin-Williams as an intern. So
let's give a quick shout out here too, guys. Johnny, out of I don't know how many other interns were there in your group that summer?
That area, I don't remember exactly. I think there was probably like 20 for that district, the Sherwin-Williams district. So
Johnny,
and my partner out of 20.
Yeah, Johnny and his partner out of the 20 interns, if not more, won intern of the year. So you're talking to a legend right now, or listening to a legend. Well, the trip back. Talk about the trip back.
Yeah. So Yeah, lead it. So we work at the paint store that day. That's Monday. Wednesday they're having the Cavs parade. So we're all like we're going back. Like we're not missing that. So we literally drove Tuesday night or something. I think you went before us, but we drove all the way back through the night. We ended up staying at your parents' house. I went with Paul and Brandon. Slept like 2 hours maybe. Go to the parade like for the whole morning or whatever. It started at like I forget what time, 11 a.m. But we were just in Cleveland like early to make sure we were parked and like situated. So we're all just chilling for like hours before it started, and the city started filling up, to 1.5 million, whatever they said it was, ended up being, which was sweet. But we had the best spot too because we're at the beginning of the parade and we were able to get the heck out of there before it even finished. We saw what we needed to see. And we were able to sneak out and without any problems, where other people were stuck in the city the whole day because they couldn't even get out of where they were. But we know where to park and stuff.
Daddies.
Yeah. Then we drive all the way back home, all the way back to DC after that.
Was it the same day? We drove back the same day?
We did. I don't think – maybe you stayed actually.
I might have stayed.
Yeah, you stayed. But me, Paul, and Brandon drove all the way back. So, like, this 24 hours was just like – and I worked the next day too at the paint store. I just took a day off to do that. So that was crazy. Looking back at that, like, there's no way I would do that now. Like, I would just say I would have given myself another day or something.
Yeah. No, I remember. You're right. You guys drove back separately from me because I'm guessing probably on that Tuesday I probably had to like run the store or something, and so I drove back in the night Tuesday going into Wednesday, and I got to Cleveland. I remember I'm getting close to Cleveland and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like I don't even know if it's worth me going back to Painesville, because if I go to my parents' house, then I'll get home at like 4, sleep for 2-3 hours, and then have to wake up and then go back, get downtown early for the parade. So I just drove straight to our parking spot in Cleveland and slept there for like still like 3 or 4 hours. It was very uncomfortable. Then I remember we were having we were all jacked up before the parade, and like we got out in the middle of the street and we started doing like 50-meter dash like sprint races.
Oh, yeah.
And like everyone in the streets like yeah, like Keegs was doing it too. We had like I don't know, I guess thousands of people watching us race down the street before the parade started. And I just remember when we did the 50-meter dash or whatever, I want to say that I can't remember how many we did, but on one of them, Paul beat me. And this was only like 1 or 2 years after I finished running track at Westminster. So like in my head, I'm still like the track king. And I just remember not winning one of those races and being so mad, but also thinking to myself like, all right, well, I slept 4 hours last night in a car and I'm half dead right now. So I'm going to blame that on why Paul just beat me. But oh man, that. And then we've got pictures somewhere. I wish we could. You know what? Might be able to pull it up for the sake of the video here. Where would those pictures be? Would they be on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I know I have pictures on my phone, but I'm actually using my phone for this call, so
okay.
I can't really pull them up. But
somebody's got to have them on their like Facebook or something. I'm gonna go on Kennan's Facebook and just show it.
I mean, I definitely, if you go on my Instagram, I definitely have one picture, but I think it's like a collage, so it's not that, it's kind of hard to probably see everything.
It's funny, I'm looking at Kennan's, shout out to Kennan Irish. I'm looking at his Facebook right now, and it says that he's from Chesapeake, Virginia. I forgot the Irish bros were born in Virginia.
That's right.
I don't know about you, I totally forgot about that.
Shout out to the Irish bros. Shout out to his brother Chaz, too. I don't know if Adam, he bought a house?
Yeah, Chetty bought a house. Congratulations. Yeah. I'm just looking through Kennan's pictures here. Looks like he might not even have it in his thread. I got a picture of us at an Indians game, though. I'll just use this. This was most of the people who were at that parade that we were just talking about. That's us at the Cleveland Indians game. Shout out to the flag behind Poppy Seat. Yeah, when you move down to Florida, definitely got to start hitting LinkedIn pretty hard. And I say that because Recently I was connected here, literally an introduction that was made. It was a public introduction made on LinkedIn by, like, I guess you could say a micro influencer that I follow. And I don't even know how the heck this guy did it. But he's a business owner, got a marketing firm, and he's Jewish. Actually, I'm sure your girlfriend is Jewish too. So I'm pretty confident she saw this interaction take place. But and the reason why it's important that he's Jewish. Yeah.
the guy who went to Beechwood.
Oh no. Well, yeah, Kevin Moss. He's a good guy. You definitely gotta hang out with him sometime. That dude is awesome, and I'm sure Brooke knows him, so that'd be a good connection.
She does know. Her sister was in high school with him.
Yeah, and his fiance went to NDCL. So actually, we'll see.
Wow.
We can do this. Actually, I feel like it's definitely going to happen now that we're recording this. But Kevin, when you watch this, you and your fiance need to get dinner with this guy and his girlfriend, because you guys are all amazing people and you'd have a freaking blast. Go hang out in Legacy Village or something. Or just go go get some Chipotle. That'd be cool too. So I'm getting to the point here. Sorry for the delay. So Joe Applebaum owns a business called Ajax Union. It's a marketing firm. But once upon a time, he was a rabbi. Like, he's been through rabbi school and training, etc. And so he's got a bunch of rabbi friends. And one of them is Rabbi Hanan Chernitsky, who is the rabbi of they actually don't have a temple here yet in Newfoundland. But the Jewish community is just now starting to grow here, very much because of this guy. And so Joe introduced us, like, in a public post on LinkedIn. He was like, "Rabbi, please meet Adam Carswell. You guys both live in Newfoundland. Like, you guys should get together." And it was amazing because, like, I didn't even know he was going to do that. It just happened. I just checked my LinkedIn one day. I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And it happened when I was in Ohio, actually, for Christmas. So then I got back here last week. Rabbi and I got together, and he kind of just got to know each other. And he told me all the things that they're working on here to grow the Jewish community. And I let him know, this is what I do. I'm commercial real estate, podcasting, etc. And so he's introduced me to, like, 2 or 3 very influential business leaders here in St. John's. And just, again, grateful for the power of LinkedIn networking, because now, I probably could have met some of these individuals that I'm referring to right now, but just it helped expedite the introductions through being connected. So I know you're on LinkedIn. You don't use it a whole lot, but as you relocate down there, fire away, because you just never know what's going to come across your plate once you start networking digitally.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out LinkedIn and what I want from it exactly, and how I want to go about using it. I don't really have a strategy at the moment for it, but yeah, like you said, I definitely need to use it to my advantage for things like that, for networking, and especially when I move. Correct. Exactly.
And I'm trying to remember. So I have, again, this is a quick little plug for anyone listening right now. I do have a kind of like a LinkedIn supercharge video series that I made with my boss's son, Salvatore Flight, which I guess I could say Sal is a potential business partner of mine in the future. He works for another company, but he's a part of the Concordia family. And basically what Sal and I named it is the Connection Game. And it's a 6 video series on really how to take your LinkedIn from 0 to 100. And Sal was kind of like my guinea pig. Like, I shared with him all the knowledge that I have, and he applied everything that we went through in the videos and the modules. And now he's really supercharged his LinkedIn. So it's like we've got this living and breathing success story right in front of you. And I can't remember if I've ever sent this to you, Johnny, but I'm going to share it with you now. And
yeah, please do.
Just take a look at it. Because it's like the main thing almost with anything, because this happens to me too when I have people on the show, and you've actually experienced it for yourself through Nadir, because remember, we did the first long format and he was a little bit nervous about coming on, and then we finally got him on the second one, and then again, hopefully he jumps on this one. But for whatever reason, people are always like, man, I just need a little bit more time. I need 2 more weeks. I'll have this squared away. I'll have this set up. I need to get a strategy. And someone who's all about taking massive action, and I read this book as many times a year as I possibly can, mainly on Audible, so I should say I listen to it. But 10X by Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
He's all about taking massive action. And he's like, the people who pulled the trigger first, instead of figuring out the most strategic way to pull the trigger, those are the ones who are going to just excel through life faster. So my advice to you is like, you kind of feel like you don't know what to do with LinkedIn, but I would just, if it was me, I would get
Just
on
start
there
doing it.
and like literally you could say anything. You get on there and you type in happy, Wednesday's like happy Wednesday, happy hump day, guys. Hope everyone's striving for success. I don't know, something like that. And it sounds simple, and you might, especially at the beginning, you might get like one like or whatever. I'll support you. So you always get at least one like. But I mean, that's how it started for me. Like a year ago on LinkedIn, and I've been working it for a while, but I wasn't posting a whole lot. And about a little over a year ago, when I would make posts, I would get 2, 3, 4, if I ever get like 5 likes, I'd be like, yes, it's amazing. And now, because I've just been posting for a year, if not more, each of my posts always get anywhere from 500 to 2,000 views. Way more than 5 likes, sometimes up to the 20s, 30s, and it just continues to grow. And the only reason that that's happening is it's not like I'm some wizard or anything. It's just being consistent. And then all of a sudden people also start listening to you once you break through that barrier of consistency. Get connected with Yona Weiss if you're not already, because he does a 10-day challenge that kind of forces you out of your comfort zone to post content for 10 days in a row. And normally you get a lot of interaction with that competition. I don't know when he's going to do the next one, but I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before. Now I'm just rambling, so I'll flip it back over to you.
Very good. It's good. It's good advice. There's things that I found out a lot about myself over the past year about my tendencies and things, and I tend to consume way more and try to gain knowledge more so than doing and creating. And I'm learning more and more now that creating is so important. There's only so much consumption you can do, and that that never gets you anywhere. I feel like I know everything, but I don't know everything obviously, but I know enough. I've learned enough to where it's like exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to get to. This next video isn't going to teach you any more than you already know. You have to just start doing. So that's what I'm at right now with things, and I'm realizing that I just need to start acting and creating things, creating content, whatever it is. And that's where success happens. That's where, trial by error, that's the best way to do things, because you're never going to have all the answers going into something.
Exactly. Just keep creating. And what you can even do is, as you're getting started,
start creating.
Start creating, keep creating. But like you're creating right now. And so
that's true.
You just take snippets from this interview, and I'm sure you could work it in a way where you've already got 6 to 10 pieces of content to get yourself going. Yeah. We talked about some valuable things today for sure. I mean, we're still going to keep. Yeah. Ideally, I'd like to go for another hour, at least another half hour. I don't know. Let me see. I don't think Nadir messaged me back yet. And actually, I got to go to the bathroom, so I might have to. Oh, he said just woke up. Does it like you can still get on the call, boy? Hold on.
Yep. Hop on in. Tell him wash his face, use the restroom, and hop on.
Right. I guess it's like I said, I got to go to the bathroom, so I don't know. Figure out something to talk about for the next 2 minutes.
All right. All right, guys. So if you're not subscribed to Adam's channel on here, make sure you do that. Hit the like button. Give him some love. He does great things. So be sure to check out everything he does. You can look back at our past interviews. It's a real long format stuff. It's just been with us, to my knowledge. Those 3 videos are very insightful that I've been a part of. They're very long though, so you might want to break those up into multiple things to watch them, or multiple times to watch the full videos. But great stuff on there. He's also done a lot of other great things. So check out his other videos. Give him some love. Yeah, we hope we can get Nadir on with us too. Hopefully he can join us. He's always got great stuff to say. He was on the last one with us. Yeah, he's like Nate Gandhi. He's like Gandhi with his knowledge and self-awareness and worldly view is unlike many people. He's got great things to say about a lot of different subjects. So it's always great to have a conversation with him, with all three of us. Here comes Adam.
Anything?
There he is. Oh yeah. I
Nice.
kept it rolling. I was just kind of rambling, but
yeah. I mean, I actually, hopefully Nadir gets on here soon, but while I was in the bathroom, I thought of one topic. I think we discussed this on the last long format, but as you know, I've got the events that I'm doing here in St. John's, Spicy Sundays and Saucy Saturdays.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And there's like, I don't know if it's interesting. I'll start by saying this. I'd realized by just taking a hard look at my personal life, as you know, doing consistent events, another one that we were doing that is discontinued now. And that's where I'm like, I don't know if I should go into all the details with you, but I could definitely give you as much as I can. So like we had Marshall Mondays going too, and that's actually it's still going, but it's not a part of the marketing plan anymore. And that's something that was, and I guess you could say still is happening every Monday, but I've cut back to it's just one Saucy Saturday a month and one Spicy Sunday a month. And it's actually made my life a lot more stress-free, I guess. I was really just doing too much. And I had a lot of people telling me I was doing too much. And I was kind of just like not listening. Something that, I've had my issues throughout life of not listening. I think I am someone who tends to learn the hard way. As much as I love taking and absorbing advice, for example, from my mentors and bosses right now, like Hunter and Michael, they advise me all the time. And I believe I always give my best effort to listen to them instead of trying doing something my way. But I'll use an example, like, for example, my last relationship, moving out to the West Coast, I had plenty of people telling me, like, don't do that because blah, blah, blah. And I didn't listen, and it ended up not working out. But it did kind of work out because then I started working remotely and like a bunch of other cool opportunities happened. And I can say that I live in San Francisco now. So
yeah,
I guess you still, in a way, you can actually, by doing what you want to do and not listening, you can still actually learn a lot. Maybe it does work out. So
yeah.
Anyways, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but I do have to say that Saucy Saturdays and Spicy Sundays have become a blast. And I've gotten to a point where I realized it's really in my own best interest to only be going out, I guess you could say, to a party scene on those 2 nights every month, maybe a one-off exception somewhere, because I know, especially since first moving here, and because I really do love the people here so much and just always had such a good time going out, I was having some fun and I was going out a lot, and I realized that it was draining me. Thankfully, I would say still prioritizing my work somehow and getting all my work done somehow. But outside of work, it was like no time to hang out with just Adam. And I've kind of felt that the past like 96 hours, especially. I've just pretty much just been here for the most part by myself. Thankfully not going too crazy. I had some friends over a couple nights, but spending time by yourself is very important for multiple reasons. One, I mean, you got to love yourself before you can love anyone else. And two, just from a productivity standpoint, I did notice with Dream Chasers, as we're closing in on episode 100 here, I would always have like 3 or 4 episodes in the pipeline. And then I took a look one time, like, oh shoot, like I only got 1 episode in the pipeline right now. I got to ramp things up. I probably only have 1 in the pipeline because I've been going out so much. So, just to kind of refocus on what it is that I'm doing here. And to be honest, like I could live my life perfectly fine without the events. It's just like, it's an opportunity to go play the music that I love and be with people that, want to listen to it and be there with me and, party and have a good time. And I mean, I know you've probably got some question marks around it too, just because you're my boy and you're probably wondering what's going on. And in the past I've spoken so highly of my buddy Marshall, but I'll just put it this way: pretty much what happened with Marshall Mondays was I also taking full responsibility because I was starting to, I guess you could say, pursue. It hurts to say it, but like pursue a reckless lifestyle because I was just going out so much. During that time, I basically made some decisions that broke his trust, and so since I did that, we kind of had to discontinue things, and it's really tough to talk about. It's almost like right now I don't even know if I should be talking about it, but I'm just being honest. The first week of 2020, I would say outside of my regular work, like, because everything, I'm really excited. This is going to be an amazing year for amazing years to come for Concordia Realty and ASIM Capital. Like, we, as I like to say, we are going to be getting doity. There are some big things coming, so I'm really excited for work. But personal life here hit a bump in the road coming into 2020 and really damaged a relationship with someone that I love. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions? Because in a way, I am kind of like beating around the bush because I don't know if I should go into all the details. Like.
No, well, yeah, I don't want to make you talking about anything you don't want to talk about, like at least on video or anything. But yeah, I was just letting you talk because when you told me, because I run your e-commerce store for you. When you told me you wanted to take down the Marshall Mondays gear on there, I was like, huh. But so I was going to ask you about it eventually, like in person or whatever, over video or whatever. But yeah, so I get a feel for kind of what happened now, but we can talk about it more later.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It's weird because like part of me wants to openly talk about it because I know on the show in the past, like I think our first interview that we did long format, I opened up publicly for the first time about my breakup and how I was feeling and where my head was at, and that was very therapeutic. It felt good. It was kind of just like, I got all my thoughts and my lessons and everything out there. I guess it's probably not time to share, I would say, necessarily all the details yet, because I'm not even sure exactly what lessons have been learned yet, and it's still fresh.
Yeah.
We're talking about something that took place within the past 2 to 3 weeks. So I guess probably next long format interview, I'll probably be more prepared to I'll definitely talk to you about it one-on-one, and I guess anyone listening now too, if you do know me, you do care about my personal life to that extent, you should have a way to get in touch with me too if you really want to talk. But yeah, I do have to say where I'm at right now is a very good place, and definitely learned a lot already this January that I'm excited to apply to life moving forward. And like 2020 is going to be a blast, honestly. Like, I'm heading to LA here shortly. Again, I keep saying I don't know when this interview is going to go live, but January 24th, I'll be in Los Angeles. Then I'm going to a conference in Nashville. Then I'm going to, Acapulco in February. Going to Austin, Texas in March. That's not confirmed yet, but good chance.
Lots of traveling.
Yeah,
like
April.
Soon.
Yeah, April is the European trip I was talking about. May, there's a conference in Las Vegas that I would likely go to with Concordia Realty. Paul's getting married in June. He's going to DC, which would be great. And then I'm talking to my buddy here, Gustavo. He's the legendary barber of St. John's. He's from Cali, Colombia, and he wants to. Well, we both want to go to his hometown in August. So that's the full 2020 vision so far. We'll see how it plays out, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, and then you'll have to, September for my birthday, you can come down to Fort Myers then.
Yeah, there you go. Might as well. I do want to go back to Belize soon. I don't know when. I know September is normally a good month because that's yeah, that's what you call it, Carnival
nice month. Yeah. That just made me think of the time to go back to Belize. Maybe it won't fit into what you already got planned, but I think I actually haven't talked to them in a minute, but Courtney and Josh are our friends. Courtney, a Belizean, who married our friend Josh Sell, they were planning on having a ceremony in Belize, I think around the time of their 1-year anniversary in March.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were talking about doing March. And now that I think about it, I told him like, oh, because I really didn't have anything planned for March. So I told him like, yeah, let's do it. But I just remembered the thing in March would probably be with Concordia as well. And I would as much as I love Josh and Courtney, I might prioritize that one. That one's actually the one that we might, man, it's like, how much do you want to keep public and private? But I'll just leave it at this. There's a huge inspiring factor to us getting together as a company in March tied to the book that you have read, Goals by Brian Tracy.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah. So good book. I think I got it over here somewhere. Well, guys, go ahead and look it up. There's a book by Brian Tracy called Goals, and there's like a subtitle to it too. I think it's like how to get everything you want faster than you could ever imagine or something like that. But that book is life-changing, and you just got to read it. And Johnny, you can validate that.
Yeah, it was great. I started listening to it slowly over a few days, and then I realized, dang, I really need to actually like sit down and take notes and like dedicate time to do this. So I split it up into 2 different days and just bunched it out, took great notes on every single chapter. So it really helped me kind of structure a 2020 plan for myself. And it's definitely not like 100% perfect or anything, but it was a great start, and it at least it was enough to get me started with something.
Yeah. So you said you did put together a 2020 plan?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I guess that's the point of the book too. Goals, yeah. Did you write down like 10 goals?
I actually think I still have my tabs up right here. If they want to load my Google Docs. Yeah, loading slow, but yeah, I actually have quite a few.
You want to share? Actually, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind sharing mine because it just helps. Let me go grab mine real quick because I know I wrote down 10 for 2020.
Cool.
And I feel like these are actually, you know what? I don't think I'm going to share. I'm going to share all of them because.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Certain details of mine, I'm definitely more private.
Because there's like other people tied to some of these goals, and but I'll share a few of them that I like.
Sure.
So one of them, which is pretty much tied to the book, is to I want to read. My target this year is I want to read 24 books this year. I know for some people that's like they read 24 books in a month, but I think for me, normally I'm about like 12 books a year. I'll probably read like 1 or 2 a month normally. Audible, maybe that changed. Maybe I'll actually end up reading more because of Audible, but that's where I'm at there. This one you'll probably chuckle at, and I just feel like it's necessary for 2020. I don't know if it's going to continue on into the future, but I just feel like for this year it's really important for me to stay single, especially with like the travel plan and stuff that I was just discussing. Like, I just feel like being in a relationship and doing all that would just create more responsibility and more stress that I'm not really sure how that would benefit me. So
Yeah.
I mean, staying singles in a way is really not easy. You kind of feel like, at least I believe, you kind of feel like there's always like this hanging pressure to get in a relationship. I don't know. Do you think so?
Yeah. I mean,
You're in one, so it's
it
like I'm
depends
not.
on how
Yeah.
it depends on how you look at it. Like if you want to feel the pressure of it, that's up to you. Like if you want to feel like the societal pressure, like, oh, I should be in a relationship and like getting engaged at the age we're at or wherever. But like I would not, like I've changed so much as like far as like anything that society says I should be doing, at a certain age or like with my life in general. And I know you feel the same way.
Hmm.
It's just a good reminder of like even though things like that, to not even look at it like that. Just do what's best for yourself. What you think is best for yourself.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to write a book. I don't know if I'm going to write one this year, but I've just seen, for example, Hunter, uh, one of my bosses, just released his first book a couple months ago. And that book, which I'm currently reading, Raising Capital for Real Estate, it's amazing how, even though I didn't write it, but because of how closely associated I am with Hunter, like this book actually is, it already has changed my life and it's going to continue to change my life and our life, like especially Asim and Hunter. Like I just did not realize the power of writing a book until he released this thing. And obviously it's got to be good quality value add book, but like it's insane how many people are flocking to this thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you want to write a book?
Yeah. I want to at least start writing a book this year.
What about? Do you want to share?
Ideally, I'd like to write a book more focused on, I'd say more focused on like spirituality in life. Um,
Hmm.
I could maybe write a book on networking too. I don't really feel like, well, first of all, I don't think I have the knowledge set, at least not right now, to write a book comparable to what Hunter wrote, because I mean that's something that it's like a book from his experience over the past 10 years in commercial real estate. And then that shows too, right there. It took him about 10 years to write his first book. And so, what's something that I have 10 years of experience in? I would say networking, or, or yeah, spirituality, so something along
That's
those
an
lines.
interesting topic that actually love to talk to you. The spirituality aspect. Um, we can talk about it a little now if you want, but like definitely more privately too, because honestly more recently my outlook on things have really changed
Mm,
from what I've grown up being taught to believe. My opinions have definitely changed. What I think for the better,
hmm.
um, which is it's a very touchy subject, like
Yeah.
where we come from and how we were raised and stuff. So yeah, I'll leave that up to you.
I'm definitely taking that and running with it. Let me just see here if there's anything else I had. So yeah, like stay single,
Yeah, go. I mean,
24
yeah,
books, write a book, or at least start writing a book this year. I want to visit Namibia, which is a country in Africa that I think English is the primary language there. It's close to South Africa. It's on the west coast, and that's a country that, in my conversations with Doug Casey, he said if he was 30 years old and single again, that's where he would go. So I just feel like, someone like that is saying it. It's kind of like I would just go there in a sense a little bit blindly, but I would definitely leverage like, the fact that I'm a Rotarian. I would go to like some Rotary meetings and go to some real estate offices and just start shaking hands and see what happens. So I really want to go to Namibia. I just know I was looking at flights the other day, and it's very well close to like around $2,000 for a round trip with like 30 hours of travel one way type of thing. So
well, what's that country called?
Namibia, Namibia, and it's if you know, South Africa is obviously the most southern point of Africa. If you were to go northwest of South Africa, Namibia would be
Okay.
there. And the capital city is
Interesting.
Windhoek. I think I don't know. It's the Dutch. It was colonized by the Dutch. So I guess that's a Netherlands connection there. Maybe I'll meet some people in Netherlands that are connected there. Actually, I should look into that.
Very interesting.
So yeah, and then I'd like to see. I put I put some pretty ambitious goals here, like for example, with Saucy Saturdays and Spicy Sundays. I put that I'd like to be making three grand a month off of those events. That's pretty lofty considering like we're really just doing it for fun right now, making a few bucks here and there. But summertime in Newfoundland, the people come out to play, so that could be fun. That could be DJing and rocking the stage. That's my thing. And then I want to start capitalizing on Dream Chasers. I have that email list, and I'm sure you get the emails twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of eyeballs that see those emails, and so
shout out to your virtual assistant.
Yeah, shout out to Rena. Seriously, I'm not monetizing the emails right now, and I think I could definitely put together a marketing plan to start making some money off of Dream Chasers. So those are like some of my main goals this year. And then you were just talking about spirituality, so that's exciting. Definitely something Nadir and I discussed in detail, as I mentioned the other night. And I'm just trying to think where to kind of point the first question. I want to start it off with you. What happened in your life that I would say basically made you start questioning and realizing that you wanted to start thinking and believing differently? Was it something that happened recently?
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting. I don't even know if I know the correct answer to that.
Did it have to do with your grandma?
No, it was just like more so like a slow build up over time.
Real quick, for some reason I don't know why, but your voice it went from like good quality to like lesser quality. So if you, I guess, say a few words.
Yo.
Okay, it's back to normal.
Okay, I just muted myself and unmuted.
Okay.
See if that helped. Yes, it did. Yeah, like I think it was just a build up over time, like a slow build up. Yeah, very, very interesting. And I don't even know how into this I want to get, like what I'm comfortable with sharing.
I know we're definitely making ourselves vulnerable today. So hey, I mean, just do it. Like, just got to do it.
Yeah, like I can't pinpoint. I can't pinpoint exactly, but I think over like the past year, mostly, things like my opinions have changed on things. As far as like how I was raised, like with the Christian beliefs, and I just like started questioning a lot of things from those things, from the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we're taught is like the end all be all, like everything in here is 100% true. And I have a lot of disagreements now, I guess is like the basic answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a lot of disagreements with a lot of things because I'll just break it down from like in a general standards and beliefs, like as far as the Bible goes. There's people that believe the Bible from start to finish, like everything is true. I believe everything in there to be true, and like I live by it 100%. Then there's like the people that just believe in the New Testament, right? And then there's people that just believe in the red letters of like what are the red letters in the Bible, or like they're highlighted and red is like what Jesus said, things that he said. So there's just, if you look at it that way, there's just different beliefs in Christianity as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But then there's things in there like that. I won't get into like extreme details, but I disagree with like the people that say that they believe they take the Bible as literal, like from start to finish. Like, then my opinion, you believe slavery is okay. You believe oppressing different people's rights are okay. Like things like that, like the way they treated women based on, It's written based on the cultural standard, but you're saying you take it literally. So if you're saying, oh, well, that's just because of back in the day, this is what, okay, well, you're actually going against what you're saying then. You're saying you're taking everything literal, but now you're not. Like that just skews it right there. And so there's just so many little things like that. I won't say them all, but yeah, that's one example.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And I will say, first and foremost, I know for us, because again, how we were raised, it's kind of like, you look at your hometown. I find that it's always so much easier for people to like point fingers and talk about like the negative things of their hometown, because it's like it's their backyard, so they know it.
Yeah.
Because for us, in I would say, in defense to Christianity, I'm really not well versed in any other religion, so
No.
I'm in no position to really try and, I don't know if shoot holes is the right word, but I'm in no position to shoot holes in any other religion. And I just know, based on what you're saying with Christianity, it is easy for us to look at, what's wrong or what doesn't make sense. Now that we are, I do have some thoughts and ideas that come to mind as well. And based on what you said and how you were talking about translations and what people believe in. And I know for me, it hit me really hard. Like 2 years ago, I went to the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. with my family. And, it's straight up, like it's all right there. It's like there's facts and documentations, like, the Bible has been translated thousands and thousands of times in hundreds of different languages and different versions. And according to the history that we are taught, because I'm always someone who's very skeptical about history, because in my opinion, it is written by whoever wins the fight gets to write the history books. So,
yeah.
but based on the history that we're taught, you had, like, before Martin Luther came around, the people in control were using the Bible to control the people and tell the people what they should do and can't do, and all that stuff. And then Martin Luther came out and translated it into something that everyone could read, and all of a sudden everyone's like, whoa, wait, what the heck is going on here? And so knowing that the Bible in the past has been used as a tool for control, to me, is enough of a reason to be like, I would say, obviously, like, it's so clear that there is so much value in the book, in the words of the Bible. Like, I love
100%.
Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, even though it's a little bit of a doom and gloom book, like, it's got so much truth and power in it. I love Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, and then even, as you referenced, or like throughout the New Testament, like the messages of Jesus and the way that his disciples lived is just like a shining example for, really how we should live our lives. And, like, in a way, we should strive to be like Jesus. Like, I do, based on the stories and legends of Jesus. Like, I mean, he was so connected with his spirit and God that he made an everlasting impact, as far as we know. So it's like, in my opinion, you should, I guess not everyone, but you should want to be like that. Like, that's, and same goes for, I would say, Buddha, even Muhammad, Confucius is another one. And as you get into more in our day and age, like Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, like all of these influential saints, in my opinion, shared that same spirit of giving and connection with God, and influence, and wanting love and peace for the whole world. Someone who passed away recently, who's right on that same wavelength, I would say, is Ram Dass. I don't know if you ever followed Ram Dass at all, but our buddy Nadir could I don't know where he's at. I don't think we're gonna get him today.
I wish he was here.
And oh man, he'd be like activated right now.
This is the subject.
Yeah, this is what he does all of his research on. But to validate with you, man, for me it's tough, Johnny, and this is why I love you, is because, it's funny because I'm having this conversation with you for potentially thousands or however many people to listen to. But, in my conversation with Nadir the other day, I was like, dude, like, I love you, man, because you're the only person that I know, like, in the whole world, that I can have the conversation that I'm having with you right now. And one, not only feel like I'm not being judged, but two, also feel like you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nadir, I'm just like, I'm so grateful for you, man. And like I said earlier, like I was going through, actually wasn't going through much hard times last month, but it was from some, like I said, some poor decisions that I made last month, bleeding over into this month, made the first few weeks of January pretty tough on me. And I only person I really believed that I could go to and just unleash everything that I had on my mind to was Nadir. And I should have assumed you too. I guess I'm doing it now too with you publicly. But I was like, man, you guys save me. You guys are like are my backbone. And so absolutely, like obviously my family is too, but like like we're just saying, like there's some things that God's putting us in this position where it's like that's our portal to everlasting life. Is sometimes maybe it's not our family, maybe it's other people that God's placed in our life. And man, you and Nadir and another buddy of mine here who we referenced Cairo, Egypt earlier, so I was thinking about him, but his name's Mustafa, and he's raised Muslim. I'm not sure how much he actually practices his religion that he was raised in, but he again is one of the most spiritual people I know, and we just had like some great conversations lately. So
yeah,
that's my piece for now, but I could definitely keep talking about this for a little bit more. So
yeah. Like one other thing I just went in the back of my mind that I want to mention too, like just that makes me question a lot of things is, we never grew up hearing about, the Crusades and like what that actually was. Like people were Christians were killing tons of people, for Christianity, quote unquotes, when a lot of things in there doesn't teach, that you should be like doing that. It teaches you to just love everybody and like not wage violence or whatever. But people, were killing like,
on
people that followed
on both sides.
on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's a big thing. Like the impact that actually had, like the horrible things that Christians did, but like, it's never viewed as that,
Yeah.
from what we grew up knowing, because they don't want to talk about that.
And if you really take a step back beyond the shades of politics and you do look at world religions, that actually is still a huge influencing factor in the wars and in the fightings that's still happening to this day.
Mm-hmm.
That people aren't going around saying, oh, the Crusades are happening right now.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
as far as we know, where are people fighting and what are the two main religions between the people that are fighting? As far as I know, it's Islam and Christianity are still going at it right there.
Yep.
In the same area of the world. And now it's just the excuses for the fighting is, natural resources or, whatever.
Right.
And in my opinion, the Crusades are still going on. And it is sad. It's unfortunate, like.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it, and it could be true. Interesting. Yeah. I guess that's, yeah. I don't know if you want to say anything else.
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing is just to always keep in mind the power of one, because, all it does take is something like this conversation that we're having to, one, spread like wildfire, or two, open the mind of one special individual that's going to carry that torch and continue to kind of spread this big picture mentality, the message of freedom. I'd say just the message of peace and love, like true peace and love. I think it's a little bit unfortunate. And I think it's been done this way on purpose by, you could say, probably the forces that really control and influence the world. I'm of the belief that there's a whole other layer of control in our world that's behind the government establishments. Like a lot of people think that governments are what's running the world, but I'm a strong believer that there's something behind that, and whoever or whatever it is that's behind that, I would say probably doesn't want the message of love and peace to be fully spread throughout the world, because then once that happens, then it's like, all right, they don't have anyone to control anymore. And then they're out of luck or whatever. But either way, spreading the message of love and peace, I would say has been categorized as like a hippie thing to do. And hippies get like some credit around the world, but at the end of the day, based on, I think, how we're taught to think about people who think that way, they don't get as much credit as they should. And but you gotta look at some of those world leaders that we just mentioned, you know, peace and love, and just having that grand vision of unity and world peace. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to have that vision. And even if you think it's impossible or think it'll never happen, you might as well, you know, you got one life to live. So maximize what you got and think that way with the absolute best expectations that you will be the next Jesus. You will be the one who changes the world. You can actually, it's actually okay and perfectly fine to think that way, to the point where it's like, if you're not thinking that way, then think about doing it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
John Colwill's the next Jesus. Right? Like, I'll
long way to
you.
go.
I'll support you on that.
Yeah, that's a great way to. That should be the ambitious goal, like a lifelong goal. That's like, you know, you're always trying to achieve throughout your entire life, because you're never gonna fully get there, but you can almost get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was just gonna say. It doesn't matter that much, but yeah, good stuff.
It'll come through. So we help me figure out where we started. We're a little over. We like 2 hours and 15 minutes now.
Yeah, I think we started at 9. So.
And so, because I'm looking at a Newfoundland clock right now, so I don't know. I'm trying to think for you.
Oh.
Well, we didn't start it. We planned on starting at 9. I want to say we started at 9:30. So what time is it for you now?
We're gonna start at 8:30 EST.
Oh,
we started
okay.
at 9.
We started at 9. Okay.
Yeah.
What time is it for you now?
It's 11:13.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll go for like another half hour or so.
Yeah.
Actually, let me see if Nadir messaged us back here too. It's funny. I think he always like overthinks things. I think he's probably just getting nervous because clearly I don't think he hasn't hopped on the call as far as I've seen. Anyways, Nadir, we love you, and actually Nadir is the one who inspired us. He's the one who said we got to do video this time, and that's what he did. So,
did he?
Yeah. So everyone who's looking at our ugly faces right now,
morning
face. You could thank Nadir for that. Yeah. So I think having a grand vision like that is the best way to live.
Great.
For me, it's amazing. I was looking at I've got pictures. I was looking through some old pictures the other day, and I saw like I was at the inauguration in 2016 with Brandon in DC.
All right, I see. All right, you want to get into that?
Oh yeah, you got to get into it. You got to get into it for multiple reasons, because I think again this ties back to what we were saying about racism earlier too, and how just for your own good, like people really just need to let go and lighten up and not be so tied to physically like what it is they look like, because you are not this. This is just what you've been given without a choice. This is what you've been given, and you make the most of it and realize that this is not actually you. So that's why like racism, like just chill. So I think back to 2016. And by the way, everyone who's listening to the audio, I was pointing to myself. Just now, but 2016, I went to the inauguration with our buddy Brandon Hauser in Washington, D.C. And for all of you listening right now, obviously you know who got elected in 2016. And I have to say a lot of things here. So first and foremost, before the election, obviously this individual is a very outspoken and loudmouth, and it's actually very, very, very comical to me how even 6 or 7 years ago, every single person in Hollywood or anyone who's kind of like a part of the mainstream media or influence, like they would die. They would give anything to be seen at like a Donald Trump hotel party or something like that, right? Like it was like the cool thing. And it's amazing how like within this short period of time, all of a sudden it's just become the complete opposite, and people just forget things so quickly. Because I guarantee you, as a person, he's still pretty much probably been the same person this whole time. But I really liked when he was running for office because as far as I could see, most politicians always get their money from an influencing source that inspires them to say what they're going to say. Like a lot of times it's not their own money, so they got to say what whoever's paying them wants them to say. And so when Trump was running for office, I was like, yo, that's sick, because like this guy's not a traditional politician. He's a businessman, and I view myself as a businessman, and he's funding his own campaign. Therefore, he actually might be saying exactly what he wants to say. Like, he's not being influenced by anyone. And I think that was actually pretty true when he was running for office. And then also, when it came down between him and Hillary, because Trump didn't really have much of a political history, but Hillary did. Hillary's killed, not solely responsible, but a part of the deaths of many people, along with someone that many people consider a saint. Pretty much any president, George Bush, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, all of them are not directly, but tied to the responsibility of deaths of millions of people. It's plain and simple.
Yep.
Do your research. So Trump's coming through, and he didn't really have any evidence like that against him because he hasn't been in politics. And so, and then another thing, because I'm black, you're supposed to vote for Democrat. You're supposed to vote blue because you're black. Otherwise you're just being racist to yourself. I'm like, anyone that's coming at me like that, I'm just like, bro, get out of my face and start thinking for yourself, because that is the most idiotic thing ever. And even more idiotic not even more, but like it's not like I'm doing any better, honestly, by still voting Republican at the time. But at the time, I thought that was the best way to stick it to the system and be like, screw you, I don't care like what color I am. I'm going to vote for like who I want to vote for. And so I voted for Trump. And since then, I've kind of gotten to a point in life where it's like, I mean, I just was quoted on this on a podcast I was on recently, but you're never going to vote your way into freedom. And you're never going to vote. You're never going to vote. If a system's broken, voting into it's not going to fix it. It's just going to continue to keep it broken. So there's my two cents on voting and taking a political stance. But so I voted for Trump. I went to the inauguration, and I was just looking at how, how big of a memory that was for me in my life, and how in that moment, how proud I was, because, in a way also when Trump did win that election, how they portrayed it on the media was like he won on a Hail Mary. Like he wasn't supposed to win, and he just came out of nowhere and just won. And again, one of my buddies, Jeff Berwick, who runs the conference I'm going to in Acapulco, Mexico, he always says presidents aren't elected, they're selected. I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. But so I was all in on Trump, and then I started just self-educating myself once Bitcoin came out, and I started realizing all these different flaws in the government that I never noticed before. And then I also started to realize that Trump was simply just becoming the next puppet. Again, this is all my opinion. I believe that anyone who's a president is simply taking orders from a source that we can't see. And so that's another reason why I do crack up when people let whatever he's doing or whatever he's saying literally control and ruin their life.
Yeah.
You should never stoop that low for one person to make you feel a certain way. That's just like, again, that's limiting to yourself. So whatever's happening in the world right now, it's not because of one person. And if it is because of one person, it's not because of the one person that we think is doing it, in reference to Donald Trump. Like there's other influencing factors coming into what's taking place in the world. And I can't really remember where I'm going with this, except for, based on my own experiences and research and just living of 28 great years of life, this is where I'm at. And I've also gotten to the point where I realize, like, me saying this and believing these things definitely labels me, as some would say, as crazy. But I have peace. I have peace in this craziness, and peace that I've never had before. And it's it's very, very much so also tied to the spirituality aspect that we were discussing, because we've got a beautiful spirit that's gonna live forever. So this is just a chapter, ladies and gentlemen. You listening to me right now and me saying this and everything that we're experiencing in this very moment is only a piece of something that goes on endlessly. And you're a part of it, whether you like it or not.
I was, it just made me think of, like, and, take everything with a grain of salt. whether you believe it or not, or whatever. If you want to believe it, if you choose not to believe it. I was just watching some video. I got into like a little rabbit hole late at night on YouTube, and I watched this video. It was like in my recommendations of like the universe and like Earth and what's going to happen way in the future, of like how everything's going to like eventually fade out, like for our universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then it showed that it's like, oh wait, no. And then it expanded out at the end. Like, first of all, I was like, this was like a 30-minute video. I got like 10 minutes in, and I thought it was like at the end, and I realized there was still 20 minutes left. I'm like, how is like all this gonna happen? Maybe like it was just like blowing my mind. I'm like, what the heck?
Dude,
it was like Earth was like long gone. Earth was like long gone, and you think, all right, that's like near the end of the video. And there's still 20 minutes left, and I was like, what? It was just funny. I mean, whether to believe it or not, like it's up to whoever, and I don't even know what I necessarily think, but it was just cool to see like what it thought would maybe, what's someone's opinion of like what's going to happen. Maybe it's like kind of scientifically proven, or like what they think is going to happen. This is crazy. Like how everything, the solar systems and like everything's going to turn into black holes, and then the black holes are going to become something, and then and that's going to radiate the light of the universe, and then the black holes are eventually all going to die, and then the universe itself is going to die, and then it's like it expands out, and like, oh, the universe, there's like billions of universes now, and it's like, and our universe is constantly expanding, which is like scientifically proven. But like, I don't know, this is crazy stuff. It's like,
well, I got that shirt. You can go on ix9.shop, ladies and gentlemen, and buy the shirt that says "Science is Religion." And I love that because, in a sense, like we were discussing earlier, religion is very much man-made or altered by man throughout its existence.
Yeah.
And so is science, ladies and gentlemen. If you really look at it, science is a man-made way to basically say what's real and what's not real. And that's all just based on everything we know. Like, we just, plain and simple, we don't know everything, and we have to come to the acceptance that we will never know everything.
Never.
And if you can actually admit and know that you know nothing, then I would say that actually is the cornerstone of wisdom. So with that being said, everything that Johnny and I have discussed today, to be completely honest, like, we really don't know any of that for a fact. Like, that's the honest way to look at it. And so in a way, science is religion. And the cool thing about science being religion is you look at like the periodic table of elements from like even just like the 1970s or whatever. There was, this is going to be off a little bit, but there was like 11 or 12 elements. And then the periodic table of elements today's got like, I don't know, 30 or 40 elements on it or something like that. And so it's like,
remember,
in the 70s, we thought we knew everything. And then now we think we knew everything. And like, science is going to continue to keep thinking that it knows everything, but it's also going to continue to actually not know everything. And
there's just more to find. There's just more that's going to be found out, always. And we're never going to know everything. We're always going to be learning new things, like more things that are true or not true that we thought were true. Yeah. And I got into a, sorry to cut you off. I just recently kind of got into a thing where I'm like really interested in learning about like the universe and like what is kind of known and stuff, because there's so much unknown, like how fast is the universe expanding and stuff. Those are incredible things like to think about, and it's just wild.
Yeah. And I would say even with learning information like that or studying subjects like that, one of my biggest takeaways has been, no matter what it may be, whether it's the universe or, how long the world has been in existence, that type of thing is like, so if I were to be one of the, powers that be, one of these kind of, as we were referring to, one of these evil sources or whoever it is that's really trying to control the world and manipulate the world. If I were to be one of those individuals, one of the best ways to limit and control a population is to make that population feel like they're so small and insignificant that there's nothing that they can do to influence what I have in control. And I say that meaning, so when you go into topics of, we'll start with evolution, for example, and the universe and being billions and billions and billions and billions of years old.
Yeah.
If you grow up believing that and thinking that, then you do start to think of yourself as like, wow, I'm literally just this little speck of sand.
Yeah, insignificant in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of time.
But if you were taught, imagine if none of that was ever taught, and you were taught that, it's just Earth. It's the only thing that exists, and we've only been around for a few thousand years. You're going to, without thinking about it, you're going to naturally think that you have the chance to make a bigger impact, knowing that things aren't as big. And so
Yeah.
when it even comes to people that believe in flat Earth, like I should not even laugh at them, because we go back to the subject or the topic of like, what is it? Admitting that you know nothing, right? So
yeah, right.
it's like, have the humility to listen to everyone. You don't have to accept everything, but have the humility to listen to everyone, and focus on the things that actually really do matter to your life. Because I look at like that, like I just said, like the flat Earth thing, and it's kind of like, you know what? No matter what the universe is, or if this was flat, it's like, I don't think my life, in the time frame that I believe I have to maximize my life, it really doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna do what I got to do regardless of that type of information. So that's a message I got for our beautiful listeners.
Great message. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Just admitting that you know nothing in the grand scheme of things is a great way to look at it.
I think that's there's a famous philosopher that was big on that statement. It was either like Socrates or Plato. I think Plato was definitely the allegory of the cave, which is, do you know the allegory of the cave?
Mm-mm.
You've probably heard it before, seen it in different depictions, but basically, I might have even used it on the show before, like on our first call. But basically, it's a story of people in a cave, like just in pure darkness, and they were born into darkness, and that's all they know, is just this world of darkness. And then over time, some people come down into the cave, and they've got like lamps or torches or lights or whatever. And all of a sudden, wherever these people exploring through the cave kind of set up, their shadows are being cast onto the wall. So the people who are in the darkness can see the shadows being cast into the wall. And they're like, this is like something they've never seen this before. It's like, oh my goodness, like that's something new. Like, there's more to life than what we thought. There's something going on over there. And eventually one of the people who's like kind of shackled or trapped in darkness finds his way out, and like goes over and sees like the shadows are like actually other people just like him. And it's like, whoa. And then like basically this person just continues to make their way through the cave to the point where they make it to land, and they go around and they walk around, and they check out land, and they walk up to a lake or a pond, and they see a reflection of themselves. The first time they've ever seen themselves, see what they look at, and they're just like, their mind is just blown. Like they almost can't even handle it. And the story goes like, so there's basically, when that happens to someone in their life, there's two types of people. There's a type of people that, again, one, they just can't believe it all. They just can't handle it. They don't know what to do besides just go running back into the cave and just go back to what they know, into darkness. Or there's the people that just like continue to pursue this quest of truth, or like what is reality, because they go back down to the cave and they try to tell everyone like what they've seen and what they've experienced. And everyone in the cave is just like, dude, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I bet none of that even, like, you're crazy. You lost your mind. And so that person, so they either go back into the cave, they go, oh, yeah, you're right, I am crazy, none of that happened. Or they go, sorry, I'm on a mission, and go on. And, so that's like a little bit of a chopped up version of the allegory of the cave, but that's like kind of the storyline. And that's a really good way to compare to life experiences, I think, especially the ones that you and I are talking about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I like that. I really do. Who that was Plato or something you said?
I want to say Plato. If it wasn't Plato, then it was Socrates.
Smart men.
Very smart. Greek philosopher. And that's okay. So those are two other references where it's like, who do you want to strive to be like? You know, those are the guys you want to aim for right there.
Mm-hmm. How about Albert Einstein? Man, I don't know if I want to be like as smart as him or something, but that dude too.
Yeah.
As far as like his understanding of things and kind of knowing that he doesn't, even though he knew more than like anybody, like he thought he didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of things too.
Einstein reminded me. Someone who's got some great quotes. I never really studied his mind that much, but I know Mark Twain was pretty good too.
Really?
Yeah, Mark Twain's got some great quotes.
Mark Twain.
And yeah, Poppy Seed's gonna have some good quotes here soon too.
Dude, beast.
Dude, beast. All right. I think we could probably get ready to shut it down here. What do you
yeah, that's probably. I think it's a good spot to wrap it up too. That's a deep topic. Like that can go on forever, but like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I think that was pretty much. We went pretty deep. Everyone, go check out. You got to go check out the last long format interviews as well, episode 59 and 71.
Yeah.
We definitely went deep on those too. But even from those leading up into this one, Johnny, I mean, I feel like our minds continue to grow and our perceptions of reality change, and we just here to make an impact and influence you guys to think outside of the box.
Yeah, I think a great way to look at it is just like, yeah, that's exactly it. Encourage other people to have open minds about things and not be closed-minded, and just like try to learn things and understand things better is a great way to look at it. And like when you listen to what we have to say, question things, be like, interesting. Maybe I should look more into that, and just be like that about everything you think you already know is how it is. That's a great way to live life, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I would actually, to play off of what you just said, for anyone listening or watching right now, in a way, I would actually be very upset if you listened to this entire interview and agreed with every single thing that we've said, because I think to have an open mind, you want your opinion and your open-mindedness and your beliefs to be like so unique that it's true to you. And because like I mentioned Doug Casey a lot on this call, I mentioned Jeff Berwick and a few other influential people, thought leaders, I would say, that are out there. And I'll be the first one to tell you, like, and I like Jordan Peterson a lot. I know we haven't talked about him yet. I love what a lot of those guys have to say, but that does not mean I agree with 100% of it at all.
No, you're right, exactly.
And I'm sure even you and I don't agree on 100% of everything. So
no, I'm sure. No, we could definitely find things that we disagree on.
It'd be boring if we did.
Yeah, if everybody thought the same things, like, yeah, life would be very boring. There would be no debate. There would be no, everything would be very vanilla.
I could go for some vanilla ice cream right now. I don't know if they cleared the streets more. Yeah, maybe. I forgot I'm in the middle of Snowmageddon still.
Yeah, they have anything open for ice cream?
I mean, actually, the ice cream supply in the stores is probably still there, because it's like, who wants ice cream right now? Oh, are you there? Am I losing you?
Yeah.
Okay, we had a little glitch there. I want to show you.
I see the connection's red.
Yeah. Real quick, this is one book that I'm going to be reading soon here. The Millionaire Moses, and I don't know all the details about it, but I'm pretty sure it's about Moses from the Bible, and how, like, there's a lot apparently. The reason why I got this book is because it talks about the wealth of Moses. And from what I've heard, because again, I haven't read it yet, but it basically just talks about, because, Moses in the Bible, you kind of just view him as like, I guess, a prophet or like someone that was leading the people. But meanwhile, you didn't really know much about like the details of his life. This guy was actually like balling, apparently. I think that's why I got this book, because it's kind of like, yo, did you know Moses was a millionaire? Apparently he was, I think.
Yeah,
but I haven't read it yet.
I
so.
definitely didn't know that.
Yeah.
If he was, like, I know, like, as far as like he was royalty in Egypt. He was taken in by like the Egypt family, even though he was a Hebrew.
Right.
So he was like a prince of Egypt, and then decided to leave that. So I didn't know, like, as far as after that goes, if he became something huge, like as like a farmer or something, livestock.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just know that like that storyline is what caught my attention, and that's why I got the book. And I really would be in the wrong position to tell anyone.
Yeah, you have to let me know.
Let me see what it says. Does it have a definition of the introduction? No, it doesn't really have. He was a businessman. Yeah, we'll update you guys on the next. Actually, I'm definitely gonna do a book review for that. So stay tuned. Check out Untitled, my vlog.
So before we go, what's episode 100 gonna be?
Yeah, let me look. Because I've got something.
Do you have any? Is it special?
Yeah, I do. This is gonna be. I might move this up. Episode 93 is coming out on Thursday, and I normally just release we're doing. This is the long format, because I'm so passionate about it. I just release them as soon as I can. I might actually have to wait on this one because I got some travels coming up, but
yeah.
So this one's going to be probably episode 90, but somewhere between 94 and 96, and then 100. Cool. Right now, I have it marked as Michael Flight, which is one of my bosses. I don't know if you've ever, you know who he is, but I don't think you ever had a chance to meet him.
Yeah, I've kind of connected with him. He added me on Facebook and on like LinkedIn or vice versa. I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm definitely aware of Michael Flight and who he is.
Yeah. So he, there's another individual, and I'm not going to say a name because I'm kind of waiting for them to take the lead on this, because they've reached out to me before and they said that they wanted to interview me on Dream Chasers. And this was like, this is like back, like this is when we were in like episode 50 and stuff. And I was like, great, yeah, let's set it up. So we set it up, but they ended up having to cancel because they had some things come up, family issues. And so I was very understanding, and I was just like, hey, follow up with me when you're ready and we'll do it. And I followed up with them again about a month ago, and I haven't heard back yet. And so Michael just reached out to me like a couple of days ago, and he's like, hey, do you want me to interview you for Dream Chasers? And I was like, man, I kind of would like to have Michael interview me because I know it'd be a great interview. I also do currently have some loyalties tied to someone else that wanted to do it, but they're not following up. So I think I'm going to give Michael the green light to interview me for the show. And that'll be episode 100. And then after that, I can't remember if I told you, but I'm going to take a 63-day break from the show and kind of just take a step back and figure out how to make it better, how I want to monetize the email system. And the reason why I picked 63 days is because, my number is 9. So 6 + 3 = 9. So I'll throw this. I'm gonna throw this teaser out there though. My buddy Mustafa, who I referenced earlier, man, that dude is truly special guy that God's brought into my life, and he speaks Arabic as his first language, and he's very passionate about the same things that we're passionate about, Poppy, and he wants to potentially start doing a version of Dream Chasers in Arabic. And I was like, dude. So I've kind of given him the timeline. I let him know I'm going to take a break and stuff, and that if he wants to be a part of the future of Dream Chasers, which I would love for him to be because he'd be really good at it, especially doing it in Arabic, that would be around June. when I make the comeback from Dream Chasers. Roughly, it would be around June time, and then also when potentially Dream Chasers in Arabic comes out. So we shall. That's a super teaser right there. Like, actually, pretty much nobody knows that except for everyone listening right now and you, Johnny.
Love it. That's cool. Yeah. Good stuff. So if anybody listens this deep, they get a little bit of info.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw my newsletter for January for 2020, and just kind of defining or writing down a word that will guide you through this year. And the word that
I kind of did see that, but what was your word again?
My word, I didn't put it in the email, but it was cool because I actually got a lot of responses from people from that email and the word that they were going to use this year. And
sweet.
One of my buddies, Alper is his first name, and I always struggle to say his last name. He's from Romania, but he lives in Chicago. And I actually met him through Michael Flight. But Alper, nice. He's about our age, pretty successful young business guy, also in commercial real estate. But he said that his word for 2020 was courage. And I was like, you know what? I didn't fully think of the one that I want to use yet this year. And I really like that one. So Alper, if you are listening right now, because I don't even know if I told you this, but courage has become my word for 2020. And I even wrote it down. I don't know if you can see it there. Can you see it?
Yep. Courage 2020.
So
I'm kind of torn between two words right now for myself after you said courage, because they're kind of tied together. But the first thing that popped in my head after you just said it was my word needs to be create. But
that is really good.
Even dating back before that, though, my word that I've been kind of trying to put into my life 100% is fearless. But that kind of goes hand in hand as far as like creating and just doing and not worrying about anything, not being afraid of like other people's opinions or whatever else it might be of whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, kind of goes hand in hand.
Courage and fearless, those are very relatable. I really like create. I'm gonna leave it to you if you take it. If you take create, then I'm just gonna feed off of it. But man, I mean, that's pretty much what we were put on this. As far as I'm concerned, that's what we were put on this earth to do, is to create.
Yeah, agreed.
And just live out. God, the ultimate creator, created the universe, created. Again, we know nothing at the end of the day, but as far as we believe, we were created by a creator. Therefore, we are creators too.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That there's just so much. You find your fulfillment in like creating more than anything, in my opinion. Like consuming, like doesn't like there's still like there's some kind of void there. Like, oh, I can watch all these videos or like think I'm like learning stuff, but like there's a void that's still there, and then like that's filled by like creating, in my opinion, when you actually put things out there.
And speaking of creating, I'm going to release it here soon. It might even be out before this interview goes out. But I just made a new song on FL Studio.
Oh, didn't you send me that?
Yeah, I don't know if you listen. I kind of want to play it now, but I don't know if it'll do it justice playing it like over the microphone. So I am going to upload the song.
Add it to the end. Add it to the end of the.
I'll either do that, or for everyone listening or watching, I'm going to add it as its own separate, like it'll show up as an episode on the podcast, but it'll just be the song. And for those of you who don't know, I've created electronic music throughout my life, starting I'd say in middle school, and then it's just always been a side hobby. I maybe make 1-2 songs a year at the most. Right now, it's just like I was just locked in the Snowmageddon for 4 days, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a song. And my older brother Mikey was the one who introduced me to FL Studio. So when I was trying to think of a name for the song, I messaged him. I was like, hey, I'm making a new song on FL. What should I call it? And he said to call it Dirt Stick. And I was like, all right, like Mikey's just goofy, man. And actually it's funny. I think as far as we know from what we've been told by our parents, my older brother Mikey actually has the highest IQ out of all of us. So yeah, Mikey's he didn't.
That's interesting.
He's a smart.
Wow.
He's a smart guy. So he told me to
You
call
know
this
what?
on.
That's interesting to me too. Like, not to like get personal with your family, but I
No,
know
that's
your
fine.
mom's side is very smart,
Yeah, you're right.
and that's not any part of your mom.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Different mom.
Very interesting. You're right. You gotta, dude. I don't know if my parents are gonna listen to this, but that'd be great to bring up because my mom always likes to like flex on how she's smarter than my dad. But the fact that Mikey has the highest IQ out of all of us, Mikey, he's like borderline genius IQ. And
really, that's so
and
interesting.
for everyone listening, Mikey is technically is my half brother. He has a different mother than myself and my other siblings. But dude, yeah, Mikey's on paper, I guess he's the smartest, and I know he would like to hear that. So,
I'm stereotyping geniuses right now too, and I feel like Mikey doesn't fit it just because Mikey is so personable and has like a great way to talk to people. And I feel like geniuses sometimes lack like social skills,
right.
And he's like the best there is at that. I feel like.
Yeah, he's super social, and
yeah.
And another thing too. I mean, if you look at my siblings and so Mikey went to college, but he never. I don't know if actually he might have. I should know this. He might have finished his degree like later, but he didn't finish it like during the traditional 4 years. He dropped out, and again, it just goes to show like, yeah, just because you're a genius doesn't mean you have to go to college.
Exactly.
Because he's killing it. He's killing it. If anyone listening, if you've never heard of a Traeger grill before, Mikey is a sales rep for Traeger. And he's like in the top 5% of sales rep for the company in the country. So he's just like, dude's amazing.
He's killing it.
We keep pumping him up like because he deserves it. He introduced me to FL Studio. I don't know why he wanted to name the song "Dirt Stick." It's just so random. It's
first words that popped into his head.
Yeah, and when I said it to him, to check it out. He responded to the email. He said, "Ooh, dirty." And sticky. It makes sense. And then it was funny, like Google gave me like the options for like auto reply. And when he said that it was dirty and sticky, he put like a bunch of like fruit emojis in it. And then so Google was like telling me to auto reply like, ooh, sounds yummy. Ooh, thank you.
He just auto replied?
The auto reply like had nothing to do with the subject that we were discussing.
Yeah.
Because he put the fruit emojis in there, it thought like to say, ooh, yum. Or like,
interesting.
Very interesante. Yeah, well, we've been trying to close this. This is how when Johnny and I have regular phone calls, we say goodbye like 10 times before we actually hang up.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I gotta get going. I gotta do this. And then 45 more minutes goes by. Because we really don't talk like this too often, but when we do, it's like for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot to catch up on, And I know we do talk, but like we do talk because we work. Like I help you out with things,
mm-hmm.
as far as IX brand goes. So we text regularly, and we're part of our group chats with our friends. But
we actually do communicate daily. I think about it. Power of the internet. And Nadir is a little bit similar manner. He's not really involved with like the group chats as much, but I know for me when I do, I get a little bit nervous whenever I do start talking to him on the phone because I know like you get on the phone with Nadir, it's going to be a 2-hour plus conversation. Like there's no avoiding it. Yeah. And it's always good. It's just like the thought of it being 2 hours kind of scares you from starting it sometimes.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's like after you've gotten everything done that you need to get done for a time period.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of goes for us too if we were going to talk too.
Exactly. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, we set time for this in our schedules to make this happen. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep. All right, Pops.
Yeah. Shout out to Nadir, though. Shout out to Nadir real quick. Because Nadir, we got to catch up. I got to hit you up so we can talk for 2 hours.
He's really going to be happy to hear your open-mindedness. I guarantee it. I'm happy to hear. I'm really happy you had the confidence to share it because, definitely making yourself vulnerable. But that's how you got to do it. Oh man, I had another thought just run through my head, but it's slipping. So I don't know. We'll bring the thought back on the next call.
Yeah, maybe actually. Well, it works out when we don't really have any subject to talk about.
That's what we did today. we didn't. Yeah, there's no subjects today.
So I don't even know what the best plan is. If there's like bringing something to the table, I guess if you have something, bring it. If not,
I guess. Oh well, you're talking about shout outs. Maybe we should just give some shout outs here real quick to I don't know, people in your life, because like for me, I know I've been Snapchatting a lot of people the past few days because I got no other way to really entertain myself. Wait, Nadir says he's here. What the heck? Hold on, he must have logged on for like 2 seconds. We didn't hear him, but it was typical Nadie. He's like, I don't think I'm ready for it. Honestly, it's quite noisy here. He got a little bit nervous, but that's why we love him. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Guys, make sure, shout outs. Go check out Nadir Price on Instagram. It's NadirPrice. And you'll be like, wow. His Instagram is definitely better than both of ours.
Oh, yeah. I love his Instagram.
He is a true creator.
Yep.
Let's see.
You're trying to shout people out? What are you trying to do?
Yeah. Did you have any shout outs you wanted to give?
I'll say shout out to the Todds, our boys at Todd Squad. You all know who you are. If you're watching, love you boys. Always great times with the squad. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna say. Let's see who's been getting me through this snowstorm. Kathleen O'Brien, shout out, because we've been playing like Snapchat pool and like all the little games. I know you ever played the games on Snapchat?
I've done it before. Yeah, it's been like a long time now since I did anything like that.
They're actually pretty doity.
I like never use Snapchat, to be honest, other than when I snap the boys my Bang energy drinks.
Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, I think this is like
jokes.
This is like PG though. I think actually I could share this one. I was talking to Nadir about it because we were talking about Bang energy, and you know that one guy on YouTube. His name is like Vitaly or whatever. Vital. He's like a Russian guy, but he's like been in the U.S. for a while. He does like prank videos.
He was like, he used to do prank videos. Yeah,
he still kind of does, and so like he was going around somewhere in the U.S. just randomly just walking up to people and just be like, "Hey, do you want to bang?" and just kind of like leaving it at that until they like give him a response. I haven't looked at the video yet, but Nadir was telling me about it, and apparently Nadir was laughing his butt off because like this guy would walk up to people and say it, and some people would be like, Nadir said there was like a couple of like gay guys that he like walked up to and asked, and they were like, yeah, like where do you want to go or whatever, and then he would be like, no, I mean like a bang, like energy drink. So, that guy, I would say that dude is very controversial, and I'm not quite sure what his underlying motives are because I've seen some of his videos, but I did have to admit, like when Nadir told me that, I was laughing.
Yeah, he's definitely controversial, but he's funny too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I necessarily like that guy.
Yeah. Well, I have to say,
but
because you the fact that we don't know him and we have an opinion on him, that does show that he's doing things. He's doing things. So you got to respect it.
Right. Yeah. Respect for
that. Sammy, you know what, Sammy? I don't know your last name, but we met last month, and I sent her a video of me dancing or something, and she was like, "Haha, like you are goals," or something like that, and I was like, "It's like you saying that to me. That's goals for me." So I'm happy you like me dancing. Jen, thank you for the care package the other day. That was clutch. Otherwise, I would have been eating bologna, rice, and tuna for the rest of this Snowmageddon. Josh Sell.
Shout out.
Josh Sell, we gave you a shout out earlier. Uncle Juice, as we like to call
Juice.
you.
Speaking of Juice, I need to hit him up.
Yeah, definitely got to hit that guy up. Juice. Juice is the only one that doesn't have a Bitmoji in my feed. That's cool. Mustafa, we already gave you shout outs. Poppy, you're definitely going to meet him eventually.
Yeah,
we actually
sounds like
we'll probably get him on one of these, honestly. Kurt Vader's Darth Vader. He doesn't have any, or actually, no, he doesn't have Instagram. He's only accessible through Snapchat. Gustavo already gave you a shout out. All the Todds. The Goyles. I've got the Goyles here. That's Chelsea and Nicole. You guys know who you are.
Goyles.
Yeah. Kyla. All right, I think that's enough. Brandon Collins.
Shouts out to the peeps.
Huh?
I just said shouts out to the peeps.
Oh, I thought you said Keegs. Give the Irish bros a shout out. Kenan and Chaz Irish.
Yeah, shout out to the Irish bros. Love you boys.
Yeah.
I definitely hang out with them out of like all the boys. I hang out with them the most. I feel like, well, them or Juice. Juice and Courtney. Because, gives someone for me and Brooke to hang out with. Not just for that reason, but
dude, no, yeah. It's important when you got to have, from my days as being in a relationship, when you got the whole couple connection, go on couple dates.
Yeah.
Definitely makes it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have that. It makes it easier. Like, it's hard to if you want when you're just with the boys, you don't really want I don't know.
You're right. You don't
really want. Yeah. Well, so it's she can't be a part of that, because it's just she wouldn't like it anyways. First off, but
that's an important thing that I would just say, just advice to people in relationships out there, because it was one thing that I feel like I didn't do enough of in the last relationship that I was in, and I think it just would have been healthy, and I think it's healthy for anyone who's in a relationship, is to really set aside time to have if you're a girl, to just have girls' nights with just you and the girls and no guys around, and then for the boys to have time with just the boys, because if your person's always with you, it's just it's not bad, but in a way it is actually a little bit limiting, and you kind of keep a certain aspect of yourself tied down within you that if you don't do that, you never get a chance to express it. And then when you kind of hold those feelings back, then they can leak over maybe into other parts of your life where you wouldn't want that to happen. So
I completely agree. 100%.
Time with the boys is doity, as we like to say.
Yep.
All right. So we said goodbye 3 times now.
Yeah, 3 times. But yeah, cool. I actually do got to get going now. It's noon. I got to get rolling here very shortly. So start my job stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered. There's a couple more people I didn't give a shout out to. I definitely need to give a shout out to, and that's because I've got a group chat here with basically Todd Squad of Newfoundland, and so quick shout out to Daddy's boys, Jordan Stamp. I already said Kurt Vader's, Charlie Haynes, Al Higgs, all the way from Turks and Caicos Islands. Al Higgs is another potential candidate for the show too, for the long format. Absolutely, that's one of my boys.
Nice.
And I want to go to Turks and Caicos with him sometime, see if we can find some opportunities there. And Scotty Oates, Scotty O, that dude is a walking comedian. Oh, someone's knocking on my door. Well, we'll wrap this interview up here.
That's a good time to end.
Perfect time to do it. One moment, be right there. Poppy Seed, thank you. Everyone listening.
And keep talking.
And all you think, say, and do. Johnny, I'll let you finish it. And all you think, say, and do.
Take it to the next level.